Hey everyone. Welcome back for the fourth part of What If Naruto was written by Jiraiya the Gallant. As always, huge thanks to all of my Patreons. Making these videos would be impossible without you guys' support, especially with all the restrictions YouTube places on my type of content. As always, the rest of the story is already out over there for you guys, along with about 30 other different stories you can enjoy. Also, feel free to send me any messages over there if you have any questions or even if you just want to chat. Link to all of that will be in the description. Anyways, everyone, enjoy the video. Almost perfect Jinchuriki. 6 months after the Chunin exams, Naruto, at age 15, was preparing to conquer Kurama's chakra and make it his own. Kurama had never done this, and the only known Jinchuriki to have done so were Killer Bee and Ni Yugito from Kumo. They were working on inferences and instinct, and there were quite a few unknowns. That being said, the prep work was done, and Naruto believed that he was ready to confront the anger and hatred embedded in Kurama's chakra. More than anything, he wanted to free his soul-bound lover of that hatred. If that meant that he had to take it into himself, then so be it. All of Naruto's precious people were present in the study. Karen, Hinata, Shizune and Anko all watched from behind the third barrier. Tsunade, Mikoto, Jiraiya, Pa and Gamabunta were in between the second and third barriers. Mikoto was present as a desperate option to try to place Naruto or Kurama under a genjutsu to suppress Kurama's chakra in the worst-case scenario. The first barrier was a chakra suppression seal. The second barrier was designed to suppress and drain demonic chakra. The third barrier was a rendition of the four violet flames formation. The whole house was encompassed in a vacuum barrier that separated the house from the outside world, and it would stop Kurama's chakra from being felt by the village. Naruto was resting in a lotus position within the center of the first barrier. He had locked eyes with each person and firmed his resolve to get this done. His body was strong enough, his chakra was dense enough, he had prepared enough, and most importantly his precious people were here to support him. He closed his eyes and dove into the seal to see Kurama in her fox form. She nestled her nose into him and gave him some final words of encouragement. Mito may have been a bitch to me, but she was right about one thing. The only thing that can counter the anger and hatred in my chakra is love. I love you, and those people out there love you. I believe in you, and so do they, Kurama said, and she closed her massive eyes and purred in comfort as Naruto scratched her sweet spot under her neck. Thank you, Q-chan. I love you too. If I lose myself, promise me you take over. I don't care what happens to me, but make sure those people out there don't suffer, Naruto said resolutely. I promise. Kurama replied softly. Do you know how I bring out my mother? Naruto asked. Nope, she should appear when you begin pulling on my chakra though. Naruto clapped his hands and gathered his chakra and prepared for the rush that always accompanied Kurama's chakra. He had been building his body's immunity to the corrosive nature of the chakra by having Kurama push as much as she could at least twice a day. It was an exhausting endeavor, but he had retained his sanity up to 6 tails before. Without making the chakra in his own, he would never be able to full control or synchronize with the chakra. Here goes nothing, Naruto said with his hands glowing a deep blue as he reached into Kurama's snout and began pulling on the chakra. Instantly, 2 thick streams of chakra appeared and linked. There was a deep sea blue chakra emanating from Naruto and a glowing and shifting dark red chakra coming from Kurama. Instantly, Naruto was already in a one-tail cloak. It took less than a minute within the mindscape for the second and third tails to sprout, and the Kyuubi cloak was billowing around Naruto. It was as the fourth tail began emerging that the red chakra began taking over the chakra link, as Kurama's chakra was now the dominant of the 2 chakras in Naruto's system. It was then that Kushina appeared behind Naruto with a motherly smile on her face. She placed a hand on his shoulder in support before her adamantine chains wrapped themselves around his body like golden armor. The suppression effect they were having on the chakra helped. Naruto wanted so much to talk to his mother, but now wasn't the time for that. Between the two of them, Naruto was able to fully pull out the 5th tail. When the 5th tail emerged and Naruto kept pulling towards the 6th, his body began changing unilaterally. His right side was encompassed in a darker red, nearly black, chakra, and his right eye went totally black with a red vertical slit. The amount of anger and hatred was starting to get the better of Naruto, and Kurama's emotions were reverberating off of his own, and they amplified the effect. Naruto began growling ferally as his right hand morphed into a vicious fox paw, and his right canine was slipping almost all the way down to his jaw. Hand in there, Sochi. Kushina pleaded. Since she was integrated with him in the chakra tug of war, she was able to feel all of his emotions and she saw all of his memories. She needed to suppress her own anger at the villagers to make sure that she didn't add to the jumbled mess of negative emotions and make things harder on her Sochi. However, even with her chakra change, she could tell that they were fighting a losing battle and that they needed some help. They were past the point of no return, and the only way out of this process was forward. Naruto would either lose himself to the anger and hatred, resulting in his death, or he would contain it and gain total access to the strongest chakra source ever known. The seventh tail sprouted, and it looked like the black cloak would spread and consume the red cloak that was normally associated with Kurama's chakra. Think of the time you spent with Itachi. The way she made you feel and the love you hold in your heart for her. Kushina began. Think of Anko and how she pulled you from the darkness and got you to share your light with the world, she continued. Think of the purity of Haku, Okami, Ruto, she was a good soul. Think about how she would want you to confront this hatred. Kushina had to giggle at this next one. Think of your desert rose and what she means to you. She needs you to be stronger to protect her brother from the Akatsuki and force the stupid council's hands. Think of your time with her. As Kushina spoke, the black aura was being pushed away and Naruto's right hand was flickering between normal and fox form. Kushina had to swallow the bile in her throat in anger at the next name. Think of Tsunade and the good times you had together. She needs you in this village to root out the corruption. Before Kushina could continue, the eighth tail sprouted and with it the black cloak surged forward. She continued to remind Naruto of his precious people and all they mean to him. It was once again starting to work, but then an entity emerged from a shadow of Kurama's cage. It was the inverse of Naruto with spiky black hair. It emitted a foul aura, and its eyes were inverted. The black sclera with red, vertically slit pupils radiated hatred. Think of all the beatings, curses and deserved anger that you were forced to shoulder for your whole life. The black cloak on Naruto surged and the inverse Naruto was forced to dodge chakra chains from Kushina. As he was dodging, the figure spoke once more. Think of the lies you were told and how the Sandaime withheld all of that from you. Kurama was helpless to do anything and so was Naruto. The amount of chakra being fought over weighed them down and rendered them incapable of moving. Kushina made the decision to focus on subduing the new entity and her chakra chains unwrapped from Naruto. There was an immediate surge of negative emotions and 3/4 of the chakra cloak around Naruto and his 8 tails was black now. Naruto grit his teeth and tried to fight against the pull of the darkness, but it was a losing battle. Suddenly, yet another presence made himself known. It looked like an old and wizened version of Minato, or maybe it was Naruto. No, it had to be Naruto because the newcomer had whisker marks. As Kushina fought against the inverse Naruto who announced himself as Yami, the newcomer strode forward calmly. Remember the life you shared with Itachi. Remember how much that woman loved and still loves you. She loved you so much that she lived a complete life together with you inside of her Tsukuyomi. Remember. The figure closed the distance and Kushina had to block Yami from attacking the stranger. You are not real, Yami shouted. You were formed in an illusion. You are not real. The old and wise version of Naruto shrugged. She was and is a prodigy at genjutsu. Who is to say what is real and not when our experiences were just as vivid as your own? He only had a couple feet until he was right in front of Naruto. Remember the blessing she gave you, your children and grandchildren. Remember passing peacefully and contentedly with your whole family by your side. She gave you everything each of you ever wanted. The newcomer touched 2 fingers to Naruto's forehead in the way she used to do when he was really young. As the fingers touched, a golden light spread across the room, and everyone was able to see what happened within the Tsukuyomi. The true happiness felt blasted away the negative emotions in an instant as pure and sparkling tears fell from Naruto's eyes. Getting a whole life's worth of memories at once was a trip, but it truly was everything Naruto ever wanted. A peaceful world, a woman he loved and who loved him back, a family, children, grandchildren, friends and a village that loved him. As the 9th tail sprouted, the chakra connection between Kurama and Naruto was severed. Kurama looked beyond exhausted, but she had a peaceful smile on her face. Kushina was smiling at him while she had Yami wrapped in her chakra chains. Yami's eyes had reverted to normal, and he was crying at the memories that happened in some faraway life. The newcomer, old Naruto, simply leaned his forehead into the golden and glowing Naruto before he phased out of existence. Naruto immediately appeared in a golden blur in front of Kurama, who had reverted to a much smaller fox form and looked like she was skin and bones. Naruto, still dwarfed by the massive fox, immediately embraced her snout. As Naruto embraced her, the chakra split evenly and seamlessly between the two. The natural balance between the two was a beautiful thing, and as Kurama's power returned to her, she transitioned into her humanoid form. The love in her eyes saturated the mindscape that had transitioned from a boss arena to Konoha again. I love you, Naruto whispered as he embraced her softly. Kurama moaned, I love you too, Ruto. Kushina cleared her throat and ruined the moment, as she placed her hands on her hips in a motherly way that says, "You are in trouble." She spoke in a growl at Kurama, "Almost 13 years with you and you don't let me know you're a woman and now you are sleeping with my Sochi." Kurama shrugged, "You had me staked to a son, woman. I couldn't move at all or control my chakra. I would say you were to blame for that. As for your son." Kurama shrugged once more and slinked her arms around Naruto. He is mine now." Kushina stomped her foot and pouted, "I only get a couple hours with him. Let him go." Kurama smirked foxily at Kushina before licking Naruto's neck and biting into it while grabbing his package. She looked up with blood on her lips, "Mine." Kushina began chasing Kurama around the mindscape with 9 chains flailing around wildly behind her. She completely left the Yami Naruto sitting on the floor and the inverse personality kipped up onto his feet. Naruto looked impassively at Yami Naruto. He stepped forward toward what he could tell was the representation of his darkness. "What now?" he asked calmly. Yami shrugged, "I don't know. I felt happiness for the first time because of that." "Well, what was he? If you are my darkness, then he was probably the one that got to experience how happy I could have been with Itachi," Naruto said. "I have to admit that it was a great life. It felt so real." Yami grunted before speaking, "Well, are you going to kill me? I don't know if you know, but living with only anger and hatred is no way to live. Seeing those memories made me realize that." Naruto chuckled at that. "I understand your anger and hatred. You are me, after all. Why not just come along for the ride?" He held his arms open wide. Yami chuckled, "You think you will survive Itachi? She told you to find love, not recreate King Solomon's harem." Naruto shrugged, "My life is, was and will always be hers. If she wants it, then she can have it after I free Q-chan." Yami laughed at that, "Sure, I'm in." He leaned forward and embraces Naruto in a hug. The darkness integrated into Naruto while he closed his eyes to process and integrate the feelings. As his eyes cracked open, Naruto saw that Kushina had tired herself out and Kurama was grinning victoriously at her. He closed his eyes and sank down into a meditative position to calm his chakra and reel it back into his body. He could tell that what encompassed him was his own. It still resonated with Kurama, but it more closely resembled Naruto's own chakra now. This meant that he could call on it at his will, but it was clear that using it was quite demanding on his body. Within the Namikaze study, the process had been quite ominous for those watching. The first barrier had shattered when Naruto had 5 tails and the second barrier cracked at 8 tails. The strongest shinobi in the village prepared themselves to engage an enraged Naruto. The sinister feeling of the chakra set them all on edge. When half of his body went black in the black aura, they were about to intervene. When the black aura spread, Jiraiya attempted to step forward and place a chakra suppression seal on Naruto's forehead. He was swatted away by a chakra tail without Naruto even opening his eyes. Taking that as a sign of what would happen if they attempted to intervene, the others waited. Tsunade pointed out that they probably wouldn't have to worry unless the black chakra took over. As if she spoke prophetically, Naruto's 8th tail sprouted, and the cloak turned 3/4 black. The whole process only took 5 minutes externally, but everyone felt and saw the golden pulse of chakra that dispelled the black aura. Suddenly, the wild and bubbling, flame-like cloak became tame and hugged Naruto's body. The orangish red transitioned into a golden orange color and Naruto was adorned in clothes made of compressed chakra. He was wearing a 2-piece cloak with a golden cloak on his back. He absolutely radiated power, but the power was calmer, more in control and far less ominous than it had been moments before. They all breathed easier, and they let their guards down when the golden cloak receded into Naruto. With his eyes still closed, Naruto called out to 2 important women in his life, "Are you 2 done yet? I would appreciate the opportunity to spend the remaining time we have remaining with my mother." Kurama jumped over to Naruto, transitioned into a miniature fox form and jumped into Naruto's lap. "Fine by me. I just wanted to give her shit for how she treated me. I get the rest of our lives together, so she can have this time." Kushina scowled as the kitsune purred while her son petted her. "Damn fox, well, Sochi, I guess I saw your memories already. So, what do you want to talk about?" Naruto shrugged, "Can you tell me your story? The note you left me didn't really tell me much and I can tell you weren't much of a note-taker by what you entered into the clan scrolls." Kushina adopted Naruto's signature pose, "Yeah, I was never really into books, Databane. I was more about working with my body and figuring stuff out that way." Naruto nodded, "I kinda figured. So, tell me about Uzumaki. I talked to Dad and got your story." Kushina shared the highlights and lowlights of her life with Naruto for the next 30 minutes or so, but it was only 10 minutes on the outside. Naruto knew some of it but most of it made him laugh. His mom was wild and untamed, but much like him, She was an authentically great person. The warmth in her heat radiated outwards and drew people into her. So, Sochi, you picked up my aunt, huh? Kushina said with a raised eyebrow. Naruto shrugged, you saw the memories. Anyone with a smile as beautiful as hers isn't a bad person. Plus, she had been dealt a raw hand and I knew I could offer her something better. Kushina humphed and crossed her arms, I guess. She and I were close. She gave me a lot of shit when I was young, Databane. When I earned my Jonin rank she started changing and became more of a mentor. So, you believe it is real and genuine? Naruto nodded, I wouldn't entertain it otherwise. I would have been just fine having her as a mother figure, but a healed and happy girlfriend is better than a fractured and broken mother figure. Kushina nodded repeatedly at that, ain't that the truth, Databane? The two broke out laughing. When you get back out there, give her a hug from me and tell her she has my blessing. Any woman that can make my Sochi happy is okay by me. Naruto offered a radiant smile to his mother. Thanks, Kachan. I asked Dad this too, but do you have any ideas on how to handle Danzo and all the BS in Konoha? Slug him good and cut the cripple's head off, Databane. Kushina answered passionately. Naruto chuckled at his mother's passionate reply, Dad called it, ha ha ha. I mean, I don't particularly care about Konoha's reputation, but I don't want to hurt those I love. I think I need to take the more subtle route though. Dad said Orochimaru worked with Danzo before he was forced out of the village, and I think that is something worth looking into. Kushina nodded, both of those evil bastards deserve each other. Kill them both for me. Sure thing, Kachan. So, you never got the chance to go back to Uzushio? Kushina frowned, no, after the third war we had a lot of cleanups to do. Then I got pregnant with you and, well, yeah. Never really made it back and the bastard Uchiha ripped Kurama out of me before I could check it off my to-do list. Yeah, Naruto muttered. Dad and Kurama told me about him too. Well, he has been on my shit list from the start. So, do you think there is anything left in Uzu? Kushina smirked, none of the other nations stood a chance against our Fuinjutsu. If my clan lasted 3 days, there is no way that they didn't lock away our clan knowledge. Plus, Minato and I never saw evidence of the invaders possessing Uzumaki techniques or seals. Naruto nodded, yeah, any idea where to start? I want to go check it out. Use your ability. The Eye of Kagura will be able to feel anything that was left. Uzumaki can always recognize Uzumaki. Kushina was nodding self-assuredly. Naruto beamed a gigawatt smile, sweet. Kushina's body started blinking as her chakra was depleted after 2 hours of conversation, which translated to roughly 40 minutes outside of the seal. Naruto didn't waste any more time with information, now was the time for parting words. Kushina didn't choose the same words as she left in her letter, which Naruto was thankful for. Sochi, Uzumaki put family before all. I trust you to do what is right and I know you will do great things. I will smile down on you from above and I will kick your ass if you come and join me too soon. If you do take multiple wives, then make sure you love them all. And for the love of Kami, go get Itachi. That girl loves you more than most people are ever blessed to feel in their lifetime, and you should make the most of it with her. Yeah, that is pretty much it, Databane, Kushina said while rubbing the back of her neck sheepishly and mirroring Naruto's gigawatt smile. Naruto embraced his mother in a hug with tears trickling out of his ducts. Thanks, Kachan. I love you. I will try to see if I can get Dad out of the Shinigami's mask for you. If I succeed, smack him upside the head for me. Other than that, well, just watch me. I will love you forever and I will love you for always, as long as you're with me, your baby I'll be, Kushina cried as the last of her essence faded and she wore a serene smile on her face. Naruto exited the mindscape and immediately released Kurama in a shadow clone. Every was watching him wide-eyed when he stood up. Karen could clearly sense how much stronger he was. If he was a sun before then he was a supernova now. Jiraiya, Tsunade and Mikado could feel it as well, but it was more instinctual for them. Naruto shrugged and gave a contented grin at everyone. This seemed to break them out of their trance and the onslaught of questions began. Naruto took the time to tell everyone the story and it rocked a lot of people. When he shared what happened with the older version of him that was buried in his subconsciousness, the women each shed tears. That kind of love was something to be cherished and never abandoned. Without even meeting Itachi, each one of Naruto's girls instinctively wanted to meet her and already counter her as one of them. This began a long process for Naruto. Getting access to such massive power was a far cry from mastering said power. He would work on in for the rest of his mortal life and still believe that there were things he had yet to discover about the power of his partner Kurama. Despite that, it was not as if he craved the power. It was about knowing his partner more intimately, more entirely and more eternally. Murderous traitor. Sasuke was walking with a purpose through the streets of Konoha at night. Things had gone from bad to worse ever since he saw Itachi again, and he was done with this place. He didn't care about his surviving clan members, he didn't care about how his mother would feel, he didn't care about his lack of true friends, and he didn't care about betraying the village. Sasuke had made up his mind. He was going to go with the four weirdos and find the one thing he cared about: power. As Sasuke walked towards the front gate of Konoha, the seal on his neck pulsed in an annoying rhythm through the seal that the bastard orphan placed on him. Thinking of his blonde ex-teammate made Sasuke gnash his teeth. He never had a good relationship with the blonde, but it had never mattered to him. He was always meant to be a stepping stone. Once Sasuke was strong enough to kill Naruto, then he would be strong enough to kill Itachi and avenge his clan. Things all got worse after he chased Itachi and she put him under the Tsukuyomi. The torture of his mind made his hatred boil, and he was just mad at himself for failing to kill his traitorous sister. Then there were the dreams that started after that day. Dreams that taunted him and raked against his mind like nails on a chalkboard. Those dreams that made Sasuke wake up in hot sweats as if he were tortured in Yami's pits. Dreams of Itachi and Naruto fucking each other, and they were as real as if he had seen it himself. However, when he woke up, they became hazy, and even if he concentrated, he couldn't find such a memory. He knew it was his mind making links that probably didn't exist. He knew that he was probably being unreasonable. He thought that it may be the seal playing with his mind. However, that didn't do anything to alleviate the fact that the thoughts and dreams were driving him crazy. Then the orphan ruined his life. He always took the glory, always proved himself stronger and better, always got the fame and credit, and always got the women that Sasuke actually deemed worthy of him. It was almost as if Kami was playing a sick joke on him by giving everything he wanted to Naruto. It was then that Sasuke realized something truly infuriating. He was jealous of Naruto. That jealousy was twisted by the cursed seal of heaven, and it readily morphed into anger and hatred. That inspired him to do what he was doing. Before Sasuke could get to the gates in privacy, the most annoying thing happened. Sakura Haruno had seen him and followed him. She had so much experience stalking him that he wasn't even able to detect her anymore. Thus, when she jumped in front of him and confronted him, he was surprised. That surprise turned to disgust, then anger, then hatred, and finally murder. They were in a park that was near the front gate, and it was only 100 meters away from the guard shack. "Sasuke-kun," Sakura said while looking at his backpack. Where are you going?" Sasuke shushed her first before replying. "Shh. Keep it down. I am going for a midnight walk." Sakura locked eyes with Sasuke and glared at him. "I am not stupid, Sasuke-kun. If you don't tell me." Sasuke blurred forward and put his hand over her mouth before looking around to make sure that nobody was around. "Shut the fuck up," Sasuke whispered venomously. "I am leaving this pathetic village. I need to get stronger, and somebody offered me a way to gain the strength I need to kill my sister." Sakura's eyes widened and she gasped, "Orochimaru." "Yes," Sasuke said seriously. "Now." Sakura interrupted him, "Take me with you." Sasuke couldn't suppress his shock, and Sakura said it again, "Take me with you." "I love you, Sasuke-kun. I would follow you anywhere." Sasuke was taken aback by this. He knew the girl had a juvenile fascination with him, but he wouldn't have classified it as true love. However, this girl was saying that she would leave to go with him and leave behind everything she knew just to be with him. She would become a traitor to her home and join its greatest enemy, just to be with him. Despite himself, this actually touched Sasuke. It made him ask the next question. "Why?" Sakura offered him a sincere smile that brought out her intrinsic beauty. "Because I love you, Sasuke-kun. I have nothing left here either. My dad is dead, and my mom is in jail." As Sasuke seriously contemplated the offer, something rose to the front of his thoughts and consumed his mind. In the Uchiha archives, there were mentions of the Mangekyo Sharingan. It spoke reverently of the power that very few Uchiha ever reached. The kind of power that would enable him to kill his older sister. She had those eyes, after all. In the scroll, it said that only the worst pain and regret brought on by killing someone you love, your closest friend, could unlock the eyes. The curse mark took this idea and twisted it into action. With a pained grimace on his face, Sasuke kissed Sakura softly. The girl closed her eyes as her wildest dreams were about to come true. With her eyes still closed, she heard Sasuke say the four words she wanted to hear the most, "I love you, too." Then, Sakura gurgled in surprise and her hands clasped her bleeding throat in an attempt to stem the bleeding of her carotid artery. The spurts of blood sprayed onto Sasuke and left a streak of Sakura's blood on his face. Sasuke caught her body before it could fall and moved it into the bushes of the park. He was too concerned about Anbu patrols and the gate guards feeling the chakra surge to incinerate her body. Her tucked it into the bushes and had the slightest trace of his remaining humanity show as he closed her eyes. He felt the pain prickling behind his eyes as the negative emotions in his brain forced chakra to the tenketsu behind his eyes. Sasuke closed his eyelids in pain before opening them to see the world with his Mangekyo Sharingan for the first time. Naruto was cuddling in bed with Hinata and Karen when a seal on his wrist alerted him that somebody was at the front gate of the compound. Without shifting, he created a shadow clone to go greet his guest and figure out what was going on. Without another thought, he lay his head back on his pillow to enjoy the few minutes he had left with two of his precious people, two members of his future family. Naruto's clone arrived at the front gate to see an Anbu in an elephant mask. "Good evening, Elephant, what can I do for you?" Elephant nodded by greeting. "Uzumaki-san, you have been summoned to the Hokage's office for an urgent mission. You are to report immediately for an emergency mission." The clone nodded. "Thank you, Elephant-san, I will let the boss know." "Thank you, Clone-san." Elephant replied while shaking his head. The kid's easy use of shadow clones was enough to make the Anbu operative jealous. Naruto appeared in Tsunade's office to see her clearly distressed. He felt the Anbu in the room and knew that he needed to be professional. He hated being professional with his Hokage-chan. "Heya, Tsunade-sama, what can I do for you?" He offered her one of his understanding smiles. Tsunade returned the smile despite the dreariness of the night and the pain of losing a young shinobi. "Serious mode, Naruto. Approximately 3 hours ago, Uchiha Sasuke left the village. The only reason we know this is because his scent was found on the dead body of Haruno Sakura. Her body was dumped in a park by the gates and his scent moved toward the gates where the night guard was trapped in a genjutsu. Anbu has confirmed that Sasuke is not at the Uchiha compound and Mikado is distressed." Naruto did his best to maintain his composure, but it was a lot to take in. He is not surprised by Sasuke leaving, but he was taken aback to hear that he killed Sakura. He didn't think that the power-hungry team would stoop that low. That was when Kurama spoke through the mind link. He probably did it in an attempt to unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan. "When I was in Mito, I reviewed memories of her speaking about it with Hashirama and Tobirama." Naruto clicked his teeth and looked pointedly at Tsunade. He probably did it to unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan. "I can only hope it didn't work. What do you need me to do?" Tsunade sighed. "That is not good news. Chunin Uzumaki, you are assigned to gather a team of the remaining Chunin and Jinan. We are low on shinobi due to the surplus of missions following the Chunin exam still." Naruto cocked his head to the side. "Is Sasuke alone?" "Unknown." "Do we know where he is heading?" "Unknown." "So, you want me to collect a tracking and retrieval team composed of Jinan and Chunin to collect a rogue Uchiha who possibly possesses the Mangekyo Sharingan and has the cursed seal?" Naruto asked with an eyebrow raised. Tsunade grunted before replying. "Is that too much to ask of you?" "Nope, I just want it on record that I hesitated to take Jinan and Chunin into an Aor's ranked mission." Naruto replied. "Duly noted," Tsunade said. "They are heading somewhat towards Suna and the Sand Sibs are heading this way to continue the ongoing negotiations. I will send a hawk their way and ask them to reinforce you." An hour later, Naruto's ragtag retrieval team was ready to go. He wasn't confident in their ability to assist him in completing this mission, but he would make do. He looked at Kuji, Shikamaru, Neji, Rock Lee, Kiba, and Akamaru. "Alright guys, thanks for assembling so quickly. Here is your mission brief before we head out. Approximately 4.5 hours ago Uchiha Sasuke killed Haruno Sakura before fleeing the village. He is believed to be moving north by northwest towards the Oto-Suna border. The most likely destination, in my mind, is Otogakure so he can go to Orochimaru for power. It is unknown if he is alone or with others. It is unknown if he has the Mangekyo Sharingan or not. I will be clear, this is a high Aor's ranked mission. Is there anyone that wishes to back out?" The group shuffled nervously in front of him. It was daunting information and the last bit Naruto said stuck in their minds and bounced around. It only took a few moments for them to stomp out their fear and harden their resolve. "We are with you. Akamaru and I will track him down until you are close enough to sense him," Kiba said boisterously while pounding a fist over his heart. Akamaru barked in confirmation. Lee growled, an extremely unusual action for him. "He killed Sakura, I will help you bring him back or I will give up on my dreams of becoming a fine shinobi." This made Neji's eyes widen more than anyone else's. "Lee, think calmly. This mission has a lot of unknowns. That being said, I will assist you." Neji finished. "It is troublesome, but I am in. I cannot let the troublesome emo go without getting punished," Shikamaru said. Naruto nodded. "When we track them down and engage, each of you will be given a shadow clone of myself. This is all I can do to ensure your safety. Kiba and Akamaru, all restrictive Cs. Off and take point. Lee, leave your weights here, that is an order. Anyone else using any training seals, they are to be disengaged immediately. The group had been traveling for less than 10 minutes when Kiba informed the group that he smelled 4 scents that were accompanying Sasuke. At 3 hours in, they came across a campsite of some sort where they lost Sasuke's scent, and Neji noted that the big one's footprints were deeper, as if he were carrying something heavy. After 5 hours, the group had caught up enough for Naruto to sense him with his Eye of Kagura. He called the group to a halt and told them what he felt. Alright, we are still roughly 30 miles from the Oto border. We now know for sure that is where they are heading, and I got more information. Our opponent's chakra signatures are developed and substantial. Based on the feeling, I would say mid to high chunin. That being said, I felt the presence of the curse seal on each of them, which would easily place them into a mid-jonin threat ranking. This is bad and I do not wish to endanger your lives, Naruto said seriously while looking around the group and feeling their anxiety and anticipation. Kiba, being the hot-blooded young male he was, spoke first. We are in this, Naruto. Let's get it. With the group's resolve hardened, they continued the pursuit. It took another 30 minutes to catch up after Naruto made chakra masking seals for each member of the team. They slowed down as they approached, and Naruto could tell that the enemy had not yet detected them by the calm feeling of their chakra. He slowly disabled his restrictive seals, making sure not to let a chakra flare escape him and alert the enemies. Using hand signs, Naruto issued orders: I, engage; you, surround; Shikamaru, command. Once he got nods of approval from each member of the team, he slinked off into the darkness that still dominated the forest despite the dawn sun casting the first rays of light into the morning. Naruto was able to move into position in front of the Oto shinobi, and he idly noticed that one of the chakra signatures resonated with him at this range. He would have to conduct a closer inspection later. Before Naruto could engage, he heard surprised shouts, and he identified the shouts as Kuji's. Fuck. He cursed under his breath as he felt chakra surges and the opening part of a fight. He kept his own signature hidden, but now that the enemy was alert, the redhead, probably a censor of some kind, shouted to her teammates. Oi! Fuckers! There is one behind us as well. Naruto cursed and unsealed Kubakirabocho, which made the blade glisten red in the darkness of the forest. He formed 20 clones and had them go reinforce his ragtag team while he took out the censor of the group. When he was 40 feet out, he heard the girl begin playing music on her flute. He recognized the traces of genjutsu immediately and he activated the chakra earplugs that he developed as a countermeasure to Sakura. Once he had done that, he stepped around the tree and engaged. The redhead was able to barely dodge the incapacitating blow that Naruto threw with the blunted side of Kubakirabocho. The redhead jumped back, and her eyes widened in surprise when she saw Naruto. Orochimaru-sama warned us about your fucking ass, shithead. She cursed before she raised her voice and shouted, Oi! Fuckers! Curse seal level 2. Before she could continue to alert the other Oto shinobi, Naruto darted forward again, and the girl rolled agilely under the flat side of the cleaver. Naruto decided to change up his methods. If he wanted to incapacitate, then Kubakirabocho probably wasn't the way to go. He sank into a taijutsu stance and noticed that the redhead was now using the cursed seal. He noticed how her skin shifted to a tan color of dried dirt and black markings spread all over it. To a powerful censor such as himself, it felt sinister and unnatural, and it positively reeked of Orochimaru. Why are you taking Sasuke? Did you make the pathetic team kill Sakura? Naruto asked in an attempt to gain some information. Chuya scoffed and looked around in a dodgy fashion. Nah, our dickhead of a leader wants a new ass to pound before he takes over the sick fuck's body. All we did was offer the power-hungry emo shitstain a place in Oto. He didn't even try to fight us on it. Good to know he is a traitor. So, what's your name? Any relation to the Uzumaki? Naruto asked casually, which put Chuya even more on edge. What's it fucking to you, shithead? The redhead asked. Naruto shrugged nonchalantly, I just wanted to know if I should hold back or not. I don't like killing girls, but if you aren't an Uzumaki and you don't want to play nice, then I will go all out. The redhead seemed to chew on that for a second before she replied. Name is Chuya, and I am a fucking orphan. No clue about my parents or any of that shit. Naruto actually smiled at her despite the chakra surge from her. He shattered 3 of her genjutsu during their little talk. He was also feeling out the battle that was happening about 50 meters away. I am Naruto Uzumaki. I think you may be family of some sort. Still want to fight me? At that moment, a golden arrow made Naruto dodge slightly and the fight was on. He now had 2 opponents and he would need to engage. Naruto spun out of a volley of shuriken thrown by Tuya and flipped over another gold arrow that came from high in the trees. Naruto smiled as he locked onto the chakra signature with his Eye of Kagura. He could sense every move the guy made before he even let the arrow loose. Keeping that additional target in mind, Naruto formed a game plan. "Ruto, let's test out the cloak. You haven't gotten to use it in combat yet," Kurama suggested. "Plus, you don't want to dally too long here and let your friends get hurt." "Yeah, the civilian council would love to pin that on me." "Alright, Q, I am ready when you are." Naruto thought back. A golden flash illuminated the night as Naruto pulled on the power he had taken and integrated from Kurama. I will simply refer to this form as Golden Kyuubi mode, GKM for short, from this point forward. As he prepared to engage, 3 ogre-like things appeared in front of Tuya and Naruto could tell that they were controlled by the flute that Tuya was playing. Naruto made a snap decision and unsealed Kubakirabocho before blurring forward. Tuya considered herself a kick-ass fucking kunoichi. She was one of the strongest cunts in Orochimaru's merry little band of fucked up misfits and she took a modicum of pride from that. That being said, what she just saw was unfucking believable and it filled her shitty ass with fear. In less than a second, the shithead decapitated and then vertically bisected her doki. The summons she controlled with genjutsu were absolutely worth fuck all when confronted by such speed and power. She wanted to stop playing her flute and give up, but Tuya was a proud and obstinate bitch that would never give a fuckboy like shithead that satisfaction. Naruto sliced through the doki and was amazed at how fast he moved and how powerful he felt. He instantly sealed away his cleaving sword and blurred behind Tuya. He pulled out 3 tags and slapped one on her neck, reached around and put one under her breasts and the other he slapped on her fine and shapely ass. Chakra lock, sleep and paralysis tags made Tuya crumple to the earth in a helpless heap. Naruto wanted to enjoy the swift victory, but he was forced to deal with Archer Boy. He caught one of the golden arrows with his right hand while not even looking. He turned his head towards the shinobi's position and reveled in the fear he could feel coming from the unknown opponent. Then, Naruto dashed off in streaks of light, bounding from one tree to the next, until he got a good look at his opponent. Kitamaro was a member of a clan that bonded with spiders. This gave them 6 arms and 2 legs. Furthermore, when they summoned their spiders and synchronized with them, it enabled him to use his spider-like abilities with ease. With the lower body of a spider, Kitamaro was at home in the canopies of the forest and he had never met his equal in such an environment. After the glowing golden boy beat Tuya, caught his arrow and looked right at him, Kitamaro felt fear for the first time in a long time. Despite being in Curse Seal Level 2, the golden blur was moving much too fast for him to track, much less shoot at. Despite that, he fell back on instincts and began laying a trap. Spiders were considered predators because they were crafty, not because they took head-on fights. Kitamaro began spinning a web for his new opponent as he repositioned, and he got himself into position to take advantage of the trapped enemy. Naruto was disgusted by the 6 arms and spider body. He didn't much like killing people, but he hated spiders. Spiders and snakes would forever be on his shit list. His heightened senses easily sensed the webs and he could feel the spider boy's sinister chakra like a black beacon on a sunny day. He decided to do the smart thing and end this quickly. He gathered chakra into his lungs and prepared to take advantage of his distraction. Naruto attached a bundle of flash tags and stun tags to a kunai. It looked like a kunai that was slightly enthusiastic about going to shrines as it sailed through the air with 8 tags flailing wildly behind it. He closed his eyes and coated his ears in chakra to dampen the sound. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light lit up the forest and Naruto heard Neji scream in pain, "Whoops!" The light was followed immediately by a big concussive boom echoed through the forest and Naruto could feel this disorientation in his prey. Kitamaro was waiting on his trap to activate when he was blinded and then his eardrums were blown out. With his head ringing, he felt the vibration in his webs from the concussive blast and he couldn't make sense of any of his senses. He tried to shake off the disorientation as the cursed seal rapidly healed him, but it wasn't fast enough. He couldn't even see the thin, pressurized stream of chakra-hardened water that cut through fully grown trees like toilet paper. He only felt pain lance through his abdomen. After launching his water-style, pressure stream, which may have come out more powerful than he thought in GKM, Naruto watched it rip through 2 trees before hitting its mark. Naruto unsealed his katana as soon as all the water was ejected from his mouth, and he launched so hard off his tree towards his opponent that he tipped it over in a monstrous crash. He soared through the air at high speeds, and he unsheathed his katana just before striking range. He soared past his opponent and let out 6 lightning quick slashes before he was forced to flip his body and catch himself on the tree in front of him. Naruto cratered the tree and jumped off of it again before the dent on the tree had even fully set in. This time, He was controlled enough to land by his opponent in time to see 6 arms falling off before the human torso of the spider's lower body. He made one more cut with his katana to grant his opponent a quicker death, and then he had to jump through an obstacle course of leaves, branches and half-trees. After he landed on the ground, he was forced to dodge a white spear made of something and his reflexes came in clutch. He spun around, matrix dodged some smaller white shards and looked at his new opponent. The white-haired boy had 2 red dots on the center of his forehead, and he was wearing his kimono wrapped around his waist. As he lowered his hand and stopped shooting white bullets, 2 white bones sprouted from each shoulder, and he grabbed onto them. Naruto winced as he pulled them out to reveal 2 white, sharp bone swords about the length of a kodachi. He took a second to sense out the battle and he found that Kiba and Akamaru were falling into a gorge with 1, no 2, of the opponents, and he was being followed by Neji. That meant that Kuji and Shikamaru were taking on the largest chakra signature of the original 4. He made sense of that and then located Rock Lee and was surprised to feel that he was coming to help Naruto. Each member of the team still had their support shadow clone, but the rest of the clones had died in a variety of ways. Returning to the man in front of him, he spoke, "A Kaguya, eh? I thought they were all dead. You don't seem to be doing well though. I am more than healthy enough to serve my master and complete his mission." The Kaguya responded. Naruto chuckled wryly, "Why do you devote yourself to such a sick man? I can tell you are the loyal and honorable sort, so why Orochimaru? He saved me, raised me, and I swore loyalty to him. Bad choice. Well, I am offering to save you. That disease you have, yeah, well, I can cure it." The Kaguya widened his eyes in surprise. "I live my life in service of Orochimaru-sama. So, you are okay with letting him kill you? I can tell from the way your chakra interacts with the cursed seal of earth you have that it is killing you." Naruto shot back. "Orochimaru-sama has tried to cure me. It doesn't work." The boy retorted. "Well, I have a bloodline that can cure you, but if you don't want to live, then we can fight," Naruto said with resignation in his tone. "I will give my life happily in service of Orochimaru-sama. Before I die, I can take you with me," the boy said while activating the first stage of his cursed seal. Before Naruto could respond, he heard cracking, and he sensed Sasuke running off away from the fighting. He clicked his teeth. "This is annoying. You are a broken record." Lee arrived in a thumbs-up pose. "Naruto, go and retrieve Sasuke. I can handle this unyouthful opponent." Naruto looked at him from his peripheral vision and nodded. "Go all out, Lee. He bears the Shikatsumiyaku, dead bone pulse. I will leave clones to support you. I have a team to catch." Lee nodded and winked at Naruto. "I will accept the aid of your most youthful clones." Naruto unsealed 2 of his backup katanas and handed them in their sheaths to Lee. "Taijutsu will no be enough to kill him. He can harden and grow his bones. Draw out the fight, he is sick and won't last long once the battle gets going." Lee accepted the 2 sheaths and slung them over his back. "Thank you for the most youthful advice. Now, Kaguya-san, shall we fight?" As Naruto blurred off in a streak of gold faster than Kimimaro could ever hope to move, the Kaguya turned to face his opponent. "Come and die. I need to complete my mission for my master." As Naruto darted away, he could clearly feel Sasuke's chakra signature. The Uchiha runaway was moving faster than Naruto thought he could, but he was distracted by internal dialogue from Kurama. "Ruto, we need to cut the power and let your system rest. We need to keep this mode in case Orochimaru shows up. If he sent the last Kaguya, then he will likely make an appearance himself if necessary," she cautioned Naruto. Naruto came skidding to a halt and clapped his hands in a meditative concentration. He pulled the chakra back in and let Kurama pull it into the seal. It was the give and take they had together. For right now, it would be more than enough. With his chakra back under controls and not constantly taxing his body, he continued his chase towards Sasuke. "Thanks Q-chan, I don't know what I would do without you." Kurama giggled. "Oh, it's fine, Ruto. Without my push, you would have been a brooding Emil like the Uchiha boy you are chasing. Before you even knew it, your hair would have morphed to look like a duck's butt. You would be alone in your apartment and masturbating to one of your godfather's books like the pathetic men in that village." Naruto wanted to laugh, but he humphed in indignation. "I would not." "Would too," Kurama said back childishly, and the seal was filled with girly giggles. "I mean, seriously, without the yes man challenge, think about how different your life would have been." Naruto was forced to see the point. "You definitely make my life better and your challenge blessed me with wonderful girlfriends. I have grown attached to those girls. Looks like the duck butt emo has stopped now that you are too close for him to get away. Oh, Kami, he is just being a drama queen." Naruto moaned as he came to a stop on Hashirama's head. It appeared like Sasuke chose the Valley of the End as the venue for the showdown. Naruto was right and the emo was trying to make a recreation of the epic battle, but it was honestly pathetic. Give the kid a little power and he suddenly thinks he is on the same level as Hashirama and Madara. After Naruto came to a stop, the monologuing began. "Leave, Naruto. You cannot beat me anymore," Sasuke shouted across the valley. "I will go to Orochimaru and take even more power to kill my sister." Naruto shook his head and facepalmed himself. "Why did you kill Sakura, Sasuke?" Sasuke scoffed, "She was the one person that still cared about me and tied me to that pathetic village. She should be honored that she allowed me to wake these vaunted eyes. With these eyes, not even you can defy me." "So, you awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan then?" Naruto challenged. Sasuke cackled darkly, "Yes, you pathetic fool. No longer will you be able to defeat me. You will no longer be able to make me feel inferior. When I am with Orochimaru, you can no longer steal my credit." "Holy shit, bud. I thought you were working on these issues with your psychiatrist." Naruto deadpanned. Sasuke snarled at that, and the cursed seal of heaven began spreading around his body. "Shut up. Shut the fuck up. So, are we going to do this? I feel like I will enjoy shattering your reinflated ego," Naruto said as he took two of his weighted training buken. He still didn't want to kill the pathetic emo. He made that promise to Itachi to look out for him, after all. Sasuke took 2 kunai out of his pouches and jumped forward through the air. It was clear to Naruto that he had much more power than when they were in Spring Country. Naruto parried the initial dual blow of the kunai and let Sasuke's momentum carry him past his position. Now that there wasn't a whole valley in between them, the fight was on. Naruto blurred towards Sasuke and was presently surprised that the emo Uchiha was able to track him. This would make it a real fight. Naruto cracked the genjutsu that Sasuke cast with his 3 Tomo Sharingan without a problem and continued the fight. Naruto wasn't pulling on Kurama's chakra, and he wasn't over-channeling chakra into his muscles yet. At this point, Naruto bested Sasuke in all categories except ocular prowess. The fight blurred up and down Hashirama's head, into the valley, and eventually Sasuke was sent flying into Madara's nose by a strong horizontal blow to the abdomen from the seal-reinforced training sword. If he were using Kubakirabocho, then this fight would be over and Sasuke dead. Oh well, promises were promises. Plus, Naruto was starting to enjoy this fight. As Sasuke emerged from the crater in Madara's face, Naruto noticed that the cursed seal had expanded. Sasuke looked even more demonic. He had 2 wings on his back, and he had both Mangekyo Sharingan spinning wildly in his eyes. The red eyes had a 6-pointed flower form with lines through the petals in an intricate pattern. Suddenly, Sasuke grabbed his head and started screaming wildly. His chakra flared even higher, and the markings extended even further as his rage was all-encompassing. Suddenly, Sasuke's eyes snapped open, and he shouted, "Amaterasu." The black flame spread out from his eye and soared through the air at astounding speeds towards Naruto. Naruto felt the chakra build up and began dodging around before the flames even appeared. Sasuke attempted to track Naruto with his right eye that was supplying the flames, but he was unable to stay locked on, and Sasuke left a trail of destructive flames in Naruto's wake. As Naruto was dodging, he heard Sasuke's shrieks of rage. "You fucking bastard orphan. You fucked my sister. You chose the traitor. Die. 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 You fucked my sister. Even worse, you did it right in front of me. Die." Naruto nearly lost his focus while dodging the flames because he wanted to laugh. Despite the hilarity, Sasuke regaining his memories didn't spell good things for Naruto. If he brought the emo Uchiha back, then it would undoubtedly get out. Messing around with the insanity in Sasuke's mind probably wasn't wise or safe, and it most likely wouldn't be effective. The insanity he felt pouring off Sasuke in droves was intense, and Naruto didn't believe he could be saved anymore. Time to go, Q. If we let him go on any longer, he may actually land a lucky shot on me. Naruto thought. Kurama scoffed, "You can handle this on your own, lover boy. Prove it to me." She finished in a husky tone. "Prove it to me and we can have clone on clone. 100 orgasms at once. Just think about it." She flooded an overwhelmingly sexy aura into his body and stirred up Naruto's loins. Well, shit. Naruto thought back. Naruto ran across the river at top speed, and he created 20 clones as he went. Kurama was right, he could win this. Sure, Sasuke could see his speeds now, and possibly even match them. However, Naruto was a chakra powerhouse and he had skills in his arsenal that far surpassed the unchanneled rage of Sasuke. Sasuke roared out at the clones and a massive fireball 4 times bigger than Sasuke normally produced ripped through most of the clones. As Sasuke was still blowing the wildfire, he was caught in the chin by Naruto's knee. Sasuke went soaring into the air, but he was caught by the ankle. The rapid change in momentum was jarring, but the real pain came when Naruto used his chakra-channeled strength and slammed him into the ground like a child pounding a bad toy. The earth cratered around his body and spittle and blood flew out of his mouth. He was then grabbed by the wings, spun like a top and sent catapulting into Madara's face once more, except this time it was the right eye. Fueled by rage and the cursed seal, Sasuke pulled himself out of the crater and coated his right arm in a potent chakra that looked like an overpowered Chidori, except the chakra was black. Naruto knew that was bad and it would be too much to take on. Even if he clashed his potent chakra into that, the backlash would be severe. Sasuke was playing to kill, and Naruto was still playing to incapacitate. Naruto pulled out his 2 katanas and sank into the wily fox stance that Kurama had taught him. The wily fox stance was based on agility, dodging and deception. Rather than a straight-up clash of blades, it was all about dodging and parrying to land counterattacks. Kurama had taught him multiple kenjutsu styles, all named after an aspect of foxes. Kurama had been in charge of all kenjutsu lessons that didn't involve Yugao's crescent moon style. Under the tutelage of the Queen of Bijou, Naruto had grown to be quite formidable with a sword. Not a master by Kurama's strict standards, but a threat to most mortal men. Naruto, Sasuke roared in rage as the image of that frame of memories entered his mind. The happiness he remembered seeing in his sister's eyes driving him further and further over the brink. Naruto remained composed and he remained in a fixed defensive position as the hand on Sasuke's back flapped like wings and propelled the Uchiha even faster towards him. Sasuke outstretched his right hand, and his vaunted eyes told him that there would be no way for the blonde to dodge in time. Sasuke's soul tasted a millisecond of joy and satisfaction before Sasuke passed through the puff of smoke. His hand crashed into the ground right behind where Naruto had been and there was a massive explosion. Naruto used the Eye of Kagura to feel everything in the dusty debris and he unsheathed his swords to make 2 quick slices. Sasuke roared out in pain as the appendages that grew from his back were just cut off. Before the wings even hit the ground, Naruto straight kicked Sasuke in the ass and sent him flying into the base of Hashirama's feet. Naruto wondered how many times the cursed seal would be able to heal the damage of repeatedly getting cratered into hardened earth. Sasuke stood shakily to his feet this time and his eyes glared at Naruto as he panted. Even the cursed seal had its limitations and Sasuke's rage was burning it out due to the wild waste of chakra. Sasuke stumbled forward towards Naruto and used his Sharingan to track him. Naruto went through hand seals behind his back, away from the vaunted eyes. He knew Sasuke would be able to detect and see the chakra buildup, but he also knew the Uchiha was blinded by rage. Naruto decided to make sure Sasuke would lose all reason. You know what, Sasuke? I loved your sister from the beginning. You aren't worthy of seeing what you saw, but just know one thing. Every bit, every inch and every hole of your sister belongs to me and I will make every bit, every inch and every hole of her happier than you will ever be, Naruto said with a devilish smirk on his face. Sasuke once again roared in rage and another black Chidori sprang to life on his right arm. As he chaired, Naruto let loose the water-style, water-colliding wave when he was 20 feet out and moving too fast to stop. The torrent of water from the river behind Naruto rose over Naruto's head and collided into Sasuke. As the water carried the Uchiha back towards the wall, Naruto used the jutsu he learned from Zabuza, except he poured more chakra than necessary into it. Water-style, water dragon jutsu, Naruto shouted and a dragon 40 feet high and 12 feet wide rose out of the river with a roar. Just as the wave made Sasuke collide with the wall of the valley, the dragon's head slammed into the position with a deafening roar. Naruto decided to make damn sure that Sasuke wouldn't get back up and he changed the nature of his chakra as he weaved through hand signs. Lightning style, shock current, he exclaimed as he placed his hands on the stream of water that led to Sasuke's newest crater. He was rewarded with a shriek from Sasuke that sounded pained. The pain transitioned into a weak whimper and Naruto let the jutsu go. As he was walking over and calming down, his heart skipped a beat as he felt 2 chakra signatures about a mile off. One of them he loved and the other he despised. Deciding to wrap this up with no further delay, Naruto dashed towards Sasuke's down form and set to work. He started by placing chakra-locking seals on the base of Sasuke's neck, over his heart and over his navel. That locked the 3 primary chakra cores and would make it impossible for Sasuke to use chakra. He then applied a stasis seal on Sasuke's chest to make sure the emo wouldn't die. Finally, he sealed him into a stasis scroll. Before he left the valley, He listened to Kurama's advice and picked up the bloody wings that he had severed from Sasuke's back. With a look of disgust, he sealed the wings into a scroll for future examination. With that, Naruto took a moment to home in on the surrounding area and ensure that he was alone. With his chakra spread and senses concentrated, he felt the rookies and the Sand siblings together. He concentrated and felt the alive and subdued chakra signature of Tuya. Spreading in the other direction, he could feel Kisame, once again under a genjutsu. He also felt Kabuta and Orochimaru, and they were both enraged. They were leaving his sensing perimeter and Itachi was heading in his direction. That made Naruto smile the truest smile he ever could, and Kurama felt every bit of his happiness as the mindscape lit up like a sunny summer day. Without further ado, Naruto dashed off to meet his Uchiha princess. Jiraiya's notes: to those of you wondering why the Kyuubi denied Naruto her chakra, well, she didn't. Naruto was a proud man, and he constantly felt the need to prove himself to his lovers. He took challenges like that all the time with the women in his life. Almost every time he was rewarded with some kind of sexy reward. Lucky bastard. The fights for Naruto were disappointing. I tried to tell him if he got too strong, too fast, that he would regret it. There were very few opponents in the world that could push him that far, and perhaps that was why his girls offered him challenges from time to time. To keep things interesting. I remember the first time I saw the Uchiha brat after this fight. He looked pitiful. He had 2 deep scars on his back from where the hand wings were severed. Without his chakra, the kid was nothing scary. With his Sharingan sealed, the kid wasn't a threat. All he was when I saw him was a whiny bitch. Other than that, this event sent the world spinning for the next few years. Mainly the upcoming conversation between Naruto and Itachi. My godson made a unilateral choice that would affect nearly the entire world over the next 6 years, and it all be traced back to this night. Unfortunately, I was not a part of the upcoming decision. I likely would have talked the brat out of it. Rather than that, I was off gallivanting in an attempt to forget that my Gaki was with my Haim. Life-changing and world-shattering, Naruto slowly approached Itachi's chakra signature. It had been almost 4 months since he had last seen her. Since they had that magical and subsequently wild experience. He walked through the forest, know that she would be able to sense him at this range. He found her sitting on a boulder and resting her legs. As he approached, Naruto felt something off, but he didn't want to open with such a question. He waited for Itachi to get off the boulder and give him a hug. His arms were open, and he knew that she would want to hug him. She never denied him that, and, sure enough, Itachi only lasted a brief second after he opened his arms for her. She crashed into him passionately, and it was at this point that Naruto definitely felt something off. His young mind was having a hard time wrapping itself around it, but now that he felt it, he couldn't avoid asking. With her head against his chest, Naruto asked, "Chi-chan, what's going on? Why do you have a genjutsu over yourself?" He felt her anticipation spike and relented when she crashed her lips into his. Why didn't Itachi want to answer his question? What was wrong? For the time being, he just poured security and love into the kiss and held her tight against him. As he pulled her closer, he felt the familiar ping of his chakra pinging off an Uzumaki. He looked around confused for a second and then looked into Itachi's obsidian depths. Her eyes were alight with life and happiness, but there was also anticipation, anxiety and insecurity in there. He placed a featherlight kiss on her lips and asked again, "You never hide anything from me. Please tell me what is going on." "I'm pregnant." She responded, looking into his eyes. She saw heart-stopping happiness and look of silly glee spread across his face. To her, that was all she wanted to see. "That's amazing, Chi-chan. Congratulations. Who is the lucky guy?" he asked chilly at the end and earned a slug to his shoulder for the cheeky question. "Baka," she said playfully and leaned into him once more. "I was scared you wouldn't be happy." "Boy or girl?" he asked softly. "Girl," she answered contentedly. "So, that would have to be Kushina then." Naruto chose the name of his first daughter with Itachi from within the Tsukuyomi. He felt her chakra spike in anxiety and hope. She wanted him so desperately to remember, but she could never be selfish enough to ask him to do so. "Why you remember?" she asked meekly and got a loving kiss on her forehead in return. "How?" Naruto shrugged. "I gained control of Kurama's chakra, and the me, or part of me you suppressed, helped me in the end. The memories of our life of love together saved me," he whispered softly into her ear. Itachi sighed. "When I left, I didn't want to rob you of your life, I wanted you to find happiness." "Baka." Naruto cut her off lightly before kissing her on the forehead again. "You are my happiness. What about your other girls?" Itachi challenged. "They are right there with you. They will understand and share in our happiness." He answered genuinely. "Ruto, I can't ask you." "You don't have to, Baka Karasu. I will do it without you even asking. Ruto. You have a life in Konoha. Itachi protested. And you don't. Naruto shot back passionately before calming down. And I plan to fix that. What? How? Itachi said while pushing away from him to look him in the eyes. Naruto shrugged. You went missing, Nin. It can't be that hard if my Karasu-chan can do it. Plus, I think I have an idea. Itachi's eyes sparkled hopefully. That's great. I can wait to hear it though. Right now, Mommy needs her Ruto time. As the two lovers engaged in what came to be their favorite act, the world kept spinning on around them. Naruto and Itachi went through session after session of uninterrupted passionate sex. Naruto took this time with Itachi to work out the beginnings of a plan, and Itachi didn't have the will to resist anymore. The Akatsuki was not the kind of place that a woman could safely have a baby, and she didn't want to do it alone. Of course, Naruto would remediate that. Step 1 of the plan was dealing with the Akatsuki. Naruto wanted Itachi to just kill Kisame, but Itachi had refused. She said that if she killed him now, then they would spare no effort in hunting her down and finding her. In her pregnant state, that would be a terrible security risk. She amended the plan to tell Kisame within the Genjutsu. That way she could part with the organization on amenable terms, and she knew that Konan would have her back. Women always stuck together on these kinds of things, and Itachi was closest with Konan of anyone in the organization. After figuring out what to do about the Akatsuki, it came down to how to handle things in the village. It wouldn't be long until scout teams were sent to recover Naruto and Sasuke. Itachi was surprised when Naruto showed her the scroll he was in, and she slapped him playfully when he said that she would only sleep with him where her brother was around. He also told her that he had recovered his memories and was likely past the point of no return with his sanity. He told her about the MS and about him killing Sakura to attain it. She was mad and remorseful about the way things turned out with her foolish little brother. Sasuke having his memories back made it necessary to amend the plans a little bit, but it also presented an opportunity. Itachi joined Naruto for most of the journey home and helped him develop the plan further. Her cool head and logical mind helped him to remember a lot of things he would have otherwise forgotten or not thought of. For instance, if he did this, then his accounts would get seized and Karen could potentially be in trouble. There was so much to this about, and only 6 hours of jumping through the trees to do so. Before they closed the distance to Konoha, the painful part of the plan for Naruto needed to happen. He was cut all over and his blood saturated his uniform, which spurred Itachi to begin licking his blood up. I swear, all of the Gaki's girls turned into vampires at some point. Anyway, his left sleeve was burned off by a fire jutsu from Itachi and he was stabbed by multiple kunai and shuriken. This part of the plan really sucked. That being said, it was necessary to deceive the parties that needed to be deceived. Naruto gave his final kiss of that night to Itachi about half a mile outside of Konoha. She had already dropped her Akatsuki jacket, ring and message with Kisame. She left Naruto with some parting advice and reminded him to communicate the escape plan to her with Kario. Naruto felt like an idiot for not thinking of that first, but Itachi simply pulled him in for another tender kiss before sending his bloody and shredded form towards Konoha. Naruto jumped down to the gate and exaggerated his weariness. He made a show of stumbling a few times and he let his eyes go cloudy in exhaustion. He offered a weak smile to Shikamaru, Neji, Gaara, Kankuro, Tamari, Anko and the elders and parts of the Konoha Council. Evidently everyone had waited on bated breath for the return of their precious Uchiha. He really wished Tsunade, Shizune, Hinata and Karen were here, but he knew where he would find them. Anko ran to Naruto and embraced him in a supportive manner. What happened to you, Ruto? Where is Sasuke Uchiha, boy? Koharu snarled before Naruto could answer. In a medical stasis scroll. Naruto replied wearily before turning to Anko and giving her a light kiss and whispering, talk later. Give it to an Anbu so Uchiha-sama can get the medical attention he deserves, Homura snapped, which earned incredulous looks from the non-elders at the gate. Naruto actually stopped in his tracks. Sasuke kill a Konoha shinobi and fought me to escape to Orochimaru. I then had to deal with Itachi Uchiha and Orochimaru. I do not feel like putting up with any of your shit. I will hand the team off to Hokage-sama and nobody else. Danzo stepped forward. We are your elders, boy. As Danzo glared at him, Naruto's eyes lit alight with fire. Just you wait, you evil bastard, I swear I will kill you one day. Thought Naruto. Aloud, he spoke again. I don't care. My mission said to retrieve Sasuke Uchiha and return him to the Hokage. I am going to comply with my orders. At that point, the elders were forced to back down as Naruto's allies gathered around him in a show of support. Tsunade's at the hospital with Kiba, Kuji, and Neji. Let's get you there, pup, Sume said softly while Kuromaru glared down the elders and civilian counselors that were Sasuke fanatics. As he walked to the hospital with Anko's support, Naruto told Sume, Inoiki, Hyashi, Shikaku, Kuza, Mikoto and the others about the mission. He told them about Sasuke's stage 2 and when people doubted him, he held up the scroll with Sasuke's wing-like hands. He fielded questions and provided the cover story of fighting Orochimaru before Itachi intervened. He said that Itachi didn't want the snake to have her brother. When he told them about that part of the fictional story, their heads were bobbing up and down. Each of them knew he was much stronger than Sasuke, so they had been wondering how he had gotten injured so badly. Once at the hospital, the parents with injured children accompanied Naruto to check on them. Evidently, they didn't have it too badly. Neji took a punch from the giant Jirobo and broke a few bones. Kuji used one of the advanced food pills and had a moderate case of chakra poisoning, and Kiba suffered from the fall down the gorge and a kunai wound. When they arrived, Tsunade was in the same room with all three of them resting on their beds. When Tsunade saw the state of Naruto, she nearly froze until he offered her one of his genuine smiles. He handed off Sasuke's scroll to her and the one with his wings. She really didn't know what to think of that. She then insisted on checking his condition, and Naruto asked for his girls to be there with him, which she readily agreed to. That was how Naruto and his girls found themselves in an exam room with Naruto's most powerful privacy seal erected. That was how Naruto told them what happened, and that is what led to the following conversation. Holy shit, Ruto, you can't be serious, Shizune said near to tears. Naruto pulled her into a hug. It will only be for a little while. I don't want her to have the baby alone, and I will look into finding out where Danzo keeps his blackmail. Anko wrapped Naruto from behind. Don't leave me alone, please. I would never, Hebiheim. I am going on an extended mission, and I plan to stop in from time to time, he whispered softly as he cradled back into her embrace. Tsunade grunted, so, you dragged me back to Konoha, stick me in the office, make me happy for a couple months, and now you're just going to go? Naruto rose from the bed and pulled Tsunade into a searing kiss. He created clones for each of his girls to cuddle up with and get relaxed. Yup, but there is a caveat. What caveat, Aruto-kun? Hinata said while cuddling into her Naruto clone as if he would disappear if she separated from it. I am going to go to the fire capital first thing. I am going to let Kenji in on our plan, and I am going to go to my dad's hideout. With that, I will have the instructions for the Hiraishin, and I have been training my body up. Once I get it down, I will set a Hiraishin relay up in the compound, Naruto said confidently, which gave the girls hope. Won't the council try to kick us out and confiscate it if you go missing, Nin? Karen asked. Nah, I am going to sign it over to Tsunade and Kenji will stall things. The elders and council will throw a fit, and I am putting an unfair burden on each of you, but when I am able to return, Konoha will be a better place for our whole family to live in. Naruto answered. I can make that work, brat. I still can't believe I'm going to be stuck here as Hokage without you. Tsunade pouted once more. Relax, Hokage-chan. If I don't master the Hiraishin within the first year, I will sneak back in and see you all. Aruto, what about my clan? Won't they void the marriage agreement?
Without you, I don't know what will happen to me.
Seeing Hinata needed some comfort, Tsunade got her strength back. You are my apprentice, and they won't be able to touch you. You were disowned by the Hyuga clan and are technically, and this is just a legal term, you are technically property of Naruto. When he signs the estate over to me, you are mine and nobody will touch you. Tsunade's reassurance went a long way for Hinata. Is that the same for me? Karen asked tentatively. You betcha. You are all my family now, and I will leave anyone that tries to break us up as bloodstains on the carpet, if you catch my drift, Tsunade said. So, what's the exact plan with Danzo? Shizune asked. Mama, can you doctor my medical records a bit? Just tell them you sealed me in this room for recovery. I will leave a clone. I need to be able to move around freely for 3 days, Naruto said with his scheming face on. That's doable. Make sure you get everything in order. I will write up the SS mission scrolls and make a copy for us to give to Kenji. Needless to say, we need to play this close to the chest. I will have to actually mark you as a missing nin. Tsunade sounded sad at the last part. Naruto and his clones gave each of his girls a reassuring look. I will be just fine. Now, I have 6 beautiful girls to tend to, so let's make the most of the time we have left together. Wait. 6? Karen asked as if missing something. Can one of you pass a message to Temari for me? I don't want to leave her out. Naruto asked sheepishly. I can, Ruto-kun. Are you going to keep picking up women while you are gallivanting around the world? Hinata asked while the aura of a lioness appeared around her. Naruto waved her off. Nah, I don't plan on it. I am happy with what I got. That's a yes. All the women said resignedly at once, which was echoed in the mindscape by Kurama. Not a word, Missy Naruto thought in deadpan to Kurama, which made her giggle. She would be able to share Naruto for the duration, so she had it easy compared to the rest. 4 Narutos adopted their sheepish pose and just chuckled nervously. Aw, come on, I will be on dad duty. Shizune rubbed her belly before looking at Naruto. What if I want a baby? Same question here, brat? Tsunade asked with her arms crossed. Clock's ticking, especially for me. The Uzumaki Senju vitality will only delay menopause so far, even with your blood and chakra. Naruto sighed and rubbed his eyes. Want to make it 4 days then? I will fill you with enough baby batter to make sure it happens. Hinata frowned, then I would raise it alone. Karen put a hand on her shoulder. No you wouldn't, you would have all of us. Naruto sighed again, and don't you need to be in fighting condition? I know I will knock Danzo down a peg, but he will still be a threat. Tsunade scoffed, I will be just fine. I can use my old henge to hide it and Shizune can take care of all my medical stuff. Your mother hid you for all 9 months, in case you didn't know. Can you hide it for all of us thought? Anko asked dubiously. Tsunade scoffed, I will teach you each the jutsu. When the time comes, I think I can get Koyuki to request a kunoichi specific mission for my favorite girls. Naruto smiled at that and ensured her would make it happen. Then, Naruto got down on one knee in front of Anko, Tsunade, Shizune, and Karen. We can go pick out a ring tomorrow, but Tsunade Senju. Shizune Kaito, said another clone. Karen Uzumaki, said the third. Anko Mitarashi, said the fourth. Will you marry me? They finished in unison. Yes, Ruto, Tsunade said with a silly smile on her face at the totally Naruto-style display. Yes. Shizune squealed happily and latched onto her clone. Yup. Karen chirped before smashing her lips onto her clone. You betcha, Foxy-sama. Chirped Anko. The next 4 days were filled with bouts of earth-shattering sex and ear-splitting cries of women in the throngs of passion. In between the spurts of baby batter, Naruto and his girls each had their role to play. Tsunade was stalling the council on the mission report, and she was keeping Sasuke in a medically induced coma until Naruto could put on a show of the council. Shizune was compiling the money, food, baby products and giving a Naruto clone lessons on delivering a baby. Hinata was assigned the task of getting clothes and ninja supplies for Naruto. Karen was preparing to take over the Uzumaki clan and she was empowering herself to defend against the predations of the council. She also sealed Naruto's things away for him into 2 Master Scrolls, which included the Uzumaki and Namikaze Master Scrolls and the signature weapons of his parents. Anko's role was to assist Naruto in the sabotage of the tracking clans. A little bit of bug-specific poison in the Abarame's food to make their bugs lethargic. A dash of pheromones in the Inuzuka kennels combined with a poison that would dampen their sense of smell. A water-soluble laxative in the Hyuga's water supply. It was all a fun game for Anko and her horde of Naruto clones. During that time, Kurama had erected a project board in the mindscape, and she was keeping track of the contingency plans. Naruto wanted to make damn sure that his girls would be safe in his absence. Kurama was more than willing to play her part in this, and her foxy nature came out in the scheming. She would make sure that Naruto left quite the impression on the village on his way out the door. Naruto was planning with Kurama, making tags, setting up distractions and thinking through every angle of this. One part of that was notifying the Toads of what he was doing. He had grown really close with the Toads and he was reverse summoned to Maya Akusan to explain it to the whole clan. Jiraiya wasn't present and evidently Ma and Pa were upset with him. That was the first time Naruto heard about Jiraiya's rut and the effect Naruto taking Tsunade had on him. Naruto resolved to make things right in the future. Jiraiya here, as I said before, I am not proud of this chapter of my life, and I am downright grateful to the Gaki at this point in my life. Well, back to the story. The Toads of Mount Myaoku agreed to defend Naruto and insulate him from any control of the Konoha Council. They each knew that Naruto represented the bright future of the Toad clan, and they had faith that he wouldn't abuse their trust. The young man just had that effect on humans and Toads alike. They were each able to see his genuine nature and they would fight for that. Gamaken and Gamakichi were particularly fierce advocates for Naruto during the Toads' deliberation. Overall, there wasn't much resistance to begin with and the clan had made its decision unanimously. The hardest part of the week for Naruto was sneaking repeatedly into the council chambers. That was to be his grand stage and he needed everything to be just right. He began by placing the room in a remotely activatable chakra null zone. He knew he was strong, but he didn't want to deal with 20 Anbu, the clan heads and however many root shinobi Danzo always had watching. That part was easy enough to plan out, a paralysis seal on each of their seats that would activate along with the chakra null zone. Making sure they didn't cancel each other out was the hard part though. Naruto also made a concerted effort to sniff out the root base. His sensory ability was key in doing so, and after the first day he had located one of the entrances to the hideout. He didn't want to push Danzo too far, but turnabout was fair play and adding a timer seal to the tags was child's play for Naruto. The hard part was placing the tags, but Naruto had his Kyofu's cloaking jutsu to thank for his success here. He wouldn't blow up the whole compound, but he would make sure to let Danzo know that he is public enemy number 1 for Naruto. With his plans for the council chambers and route completed, Naruto needed to make sure that the blame didn't fall on Tsunade. So far, her relationship with Naruto had been kept secret. It was great being a censor when you were sneaking and fooling around with a high-profile leader. He had been seen in public kissing Shizune, so that was a possible avenue of attack on Tsunade. That was why letting Sasuke wake up and share the story of how Naruto was banging Itachi would pay off. She gets to play the rejected girlfriend and all that sob story nonsense. Naruto didn't feel right leaving the girls alone, so he worked like a man possessed, 5 teams of 10 clones apiece, to create his first iteration of the communication scroll. The scrolls are linked to 2 individuals' blood and chakra. When a message is sent, a seal on the outside of the scroll blinks red. The message is displayed until the receiver activates the seal that erases it. All it takes to send a message is a pulse of chakra to the transmission seal, and the message will be sent to the scroll it is linked to. It was basic, but it would go a long way to keeping his girls happy. Furthermore, if anything happened, he would return with a vengeance and, Konoha's reputation be damned, he would kill everyone involved. He had summoned Karyo, promised him as much meat as he could eat for 1 whole year, and asked him to take a message to Itachi. The crow nuzzled into him and forgave him. He gleefully gobbled a piece of steak and then he flew off with the message to Itachi. Itachi received Karyo about 10 miles out of Konoha and reviewed the plan. A small smile graced her lips as her right hand slipped to her ever-growing belly. It would be so much different than their life in Tsukuyomi, and that thought excited her greatly. 3 days had passed, and the final night Naruto had with his fiancées was upon them. Tsunade had ignored all remaining paperwork, cancelled her clones and stormed out of the Hokage monument in front of the elders. She told them that if Naruto doesn't wake up naturally by tomorrow morning, then she would wake him up. It was important to make it seem like Naruto didn't have much time to plan things out. He had a couple dummy seals to make people believe it too. When Tsunade returned to the Namikaze compound, she saw her family sitting there and enjoying each other's company in the garden gazebo. She slid in, Naruto and his 3 clones dipped out, and when they returned 6 Narutos cuddled into Tsunade, Shizune, Anko, Temari, Hinata, and Karen. Maya Akusan's sake was provided for the night, and everyone was getting ready to enjoy their last night with Naruto. Tsunade stood and raised her saucer. "All right everyone, that was a wonderful dinner. Thank you Ruto. As the craziness commences, it is important to remember that family comes before all. Family before all." Everyone cheered and downed their saucers. Tsunade continued, "I know not what tomorrow brings, but so long as you all are with me, we will make it through together. Together." Everyone cheered again before drinking, and Hinata was already blushing and hiccuping. Tsunade looked to Temari, "You love my bratty stud, right?" Temari nodded meekly and cuddled into her Naruto. "Then, you keep your mouth shut and I will bring you to Konoha upon his return. That is my promise to you." Tamari's eyes sparkled, and she dipped her head. "Thank you, Tsunade-sama." Tsunade waved her finger in a chastising manner at Temari. "When we are within these walls, we are family. No formalities among family." "Damn straight." Anko cheered before downing another saucer. Naruto and his clones stood up and knelt in front of each one of his women. "I am blessed to know you and eternally grateful to call you mine. I swear this to you, I will return, and we will be happy together as a family. You are the most important thing in my life, and I will do everything in my power to be deserving of your love and affection. If you forget all else, remember this, I love you." The clone beside Naruto added, "And I will remove that tainted fucking seal from your perfect body." This earned that particular clone a trip into Anko's bust, followed by a searing kiss. The group went inside, and craziness ensued. I am a talented author, but I can't begin to describe the debauchery that occurred over the next several hours. From character testaments, I was able to discern the following. The whole night was spent with Naruto tending to his women, and he spared no effort in doing so. From the sound of it, 11 clones were summoned, and each woman started their night with an erotic massage from 2 Narutos. According to each girl, hearing the moans, groans and releases from their sisters next to them only heightened the experience for each of them. After bribing the story out of Naruto, I know that a genuine orgy took place. Naruto on girl, clone on girl, girl on girl, and a lot of other action happened that night. Naruto, the real one, made sure he tended to each of his girls in person for at least one round. What started as a group massage in the living room turned into an orgy in the master bedroom. The several rounds of carnal pleasure left so many cum stains on the bed that it had to be thrown out. As if that weren't enough, Anko, Tsunade and Temari made it to the bonus round, and Naruto took them out into the onsen for another couple rounds of sex and sake. Naruto was genuinely content and perfectly exhausted when he collapsed on his bed around 4 a.m. in the morning. Kurama worked overtime to top off his chakra and assist in his recovery. Getting the memory and sensations of so many orgasms when his clones popped was enough to lay even him out. The next morning, Naruto hopped in the shower and used the best scent-killing shampoo money could buy. He ended up using the whole bottle to remove the scent of the previous night, but he had 10 bottles of the stuff ready to go so that his women would reek of it. It would be easy enough for an Inuzuka to smell that on them and arouse suspicions. On top of that, he gave each woman a scent masking seal to apply to their clothes. He was already making them for himself, so it was easy enough to replicate. With everything prepared and one final check, the future Uzumaki Namikaze family settled in for a final breakfast and coffee served by Naruto. Final goodbyes were said, and tears were shed as Naruto handed off pairs of his clothes to his clones. The real Naruto sealed away a fresh uniform that Shizune procured for him that had more black attire than he was used to. Finally, Naruto left towards the hospital with Tsunade. Under the guise of her doing her morning routine, she would discover that Naruto had awakened, which would set a series of events in motion. Jiraiya's notes: for those of you wondering where the gallant Jiraiya was for this monumental task, I am ashamed to admit that I do not have a good answer. I was on a bender somewhere in Fire Country blowing through the money I won from betting on the Gaki and the Chunin exams. At that point in my life, I felt betrayed by my student taking my harem. Alas, even a gallant pervert is not a perfect pervert, and I admit my mistakes. When I asked Naruto why he agreed to get the girls pregnant, he asked me the following question: do you know what it is like to be an empathic sensor when so many women are experiencing baby fever? Alas, I didn't have a good answer to that one. The only answer I could provide was obviously not. He made his decision, and it had some consequences, but we will get to that when we get there. For the perverts wondering why the gallant and superbly perverted Jiraiya couldn't go further into detail on the night of debauchery. Well, Kami's honest truth is I tried and tried again. I ruined so many scripts and lost so much blood that I was hospitalized by Tsunade herself. I went through 6 blood replenishing pills in a day, people. I tried. All I know is that if Kami sees fit to place my soul in heaven, then I would like it to mirror that night for Naruto. An advanced guide on how to go out with a bang. Naruto awoke during Tsunade's medical exam, and the Anbu informed him that there was a mandatory council meeting at 6 p.m. Tsunade had scheduled it for that time at Naruto's request. He was taken from the hospital under Anbu guard at 5 p.m. When he asked why there was an Anbu guard, Kat, recently reinstated to Anbu, told him that it was ordered by the elders. Evidently, they weren't pleased with Naruto bringing back their precious Uchiha in such a state. Thus, Naruto was escorted directly to the council chambers. He was nervous because it was about time for the show to begin. He had most of his family fortune, scrolls, weapons and other stuff sealed into one tattoo or another on his body. Seriously, when Naruto activated all of the seals on his body, he looked like some crazy tattoo fanatic. He made a side note to himself to remove all seals and find a more efficient way to ink them on. He walked into the council chambers at 5:45 p.m., and everyone was there except for Tsunade. To Naruto's surprise, the other members of the retrieval team were there as well. Shit, he really didn't want to do this in front of them. As he took his place along the wall next to the others, he winked and gave a friendly wave to Mikoto. He hadn't told her yet, but she would have a clone waiting for her when she got home. Naruto knew better than most that she could keep a secret. At 6 p.m., Tsunade entered the chambers and sat in her seat. Alright, let's get this over with. This council was convened to review the retrieval mission of one Uchiha Sasuke. The mission commander was Chunin Uzumaki Naruto. The selected team was Nara Shikamaru, Hyuga Neji, Akimichi Kuji, Lee Rock, Inuzuka Kiba, and Inuzuka Akamaru. Will Chunin Uzumaki please step forward? It was more than weird for Naruto to hear Tsunade speak so formally and professionally. Chunin Uzumaki Naruto reporting as ordered. Naruto replied with a formal bow. Please provide the council with a full mission report for the retrieval mission of Uchiha Sasuke, Tsunade said monotonously. So, Naruto told the council the tailored story, despite the protests of the civilian council and infuriated elders. Oh, Kami, Naruto couldn't wait to put those old bags of bones in the ground already. He had a great fuck you present plan for them though, so he took a small bit of satisfaction in that. As Naruto wove his tale, he inserted some key facts to get the desired result. He wanted the civilians and elders to be riled up enough to do something just stupid enough to get the desired outcome. Once the tale had ended, Naruto waited for the questioning to begin. Sure enough, it was Danzo that opened the questioning. So, you claim that you were able to best the sound team, Uchiha Sasuke, and you fought against Orochimaru while using the Kyuubi's chakra, is that correct? Danzo asked emotionlessly. Naruto nodded, I did. Homura stomped his foot, and that is why Sasuke-sama is so injured. Naruto shrugged, maybe. I had my orders to return him to Konoha alive. I fulfilled those orders. You nearly killed the Uchiha heir. A civilian shrieked and Tsunade let this happen while feigning exhaustion. Naruto laughed at that, near and close only count in horseshoes and explosive notes. I see no problem in the manner with which I fulfilled my mission. Before the civilians could interrupt again, Shikaku Nara stood up. Naruto, why did you separate from your team and only give them clones as backup? You knew their opponents were much stronger than them with their cursed seals active. Naruto nodded at that, I chose to believe in my team and their teamwork capabilities. I couldn't afford for Sasuke to escape, so I put myself in harm's way to close off the escape route. I admit it was a gamble, but it paid off. I personally dealt with 2 of the original 4 and my team had clone support. That is acceptable reasoning. Shikaku finished and sat back down. Hyuga Hiashi stood and didn't look pleased with Naruto. Neji was hurt the worst of any of the team and he was still far from fully recovered. Chunin Uzumaki, if reports are to be believed, then you could have dealt with the Auto Shinobi single-handedly. Why did you put your subordinates at such risk? Naruto cocked his head at the question, is teamwork not the founding principle of Konoha's strength? Did I not accomplish the mission? Did every member of my team not make it back alive from what I would classify as an rank mission? I call that success. Pissing Hiashi off once more was also part of the plan. He needed one shinobi counselor to vote against him, after all. Based on his reaction, he most likely succeeded. Koharu questioned him this time. It was in the report of Nara Shikamaru that during the initial fight, Hyuga Neji was blinded by your flash tags. Did you know this occurred? Naruto sighed, first I am hearing of it. So, you admit that you used such an overpowered jutsu and injured one of your own team? Koharu sneered. Yes, I can admit to that. Naruto replied. The Hyuga's eyes are sensitive to chakra and I failed to take that into consideration. You are an admittedly talented tactician. For you to make such a mistake, would you say it was because the Kyuubi's chakra compromised you? Danzo said in forced calm. No. Naruto replied flatly. In your report that you provided this morning, you quote the Kyuubi's chakra being empowering and intoxicating. Do you still wish to say it didn't compromise your judgment? Danzo followed. Not in my opinion, Naruto said flatly once more. It honestly feels like you are reaching. The elders and civilian council hate me, that much is clear. So, why don't you old fuckers just get to your point? I can see Tsunade-sama is stressed because you have probably been bothering her with one stupid thing or another. The elders growled and the civilians shouted for a couple minutes. Danzo tapped his cane and got everyone to quiet down. I call for the imprisonment of Uzumaki Naruto until such a time as we can ensure he is not a risk to the village. It is clear through testimony and results that he has been compromised by the demon. Tsunade rubbed her temples in irritation, and she growled, denied. Homura stepped forward, Hokage-sama, this is a matter of village security and as such you cannot deny the council the opportunity to vote of this issue. His pompous attitude served to piss more than a few of the clan heads off. Tsunade growled and flared her ki, fine, I will caution each of you to vote carefully. This was powerful enough to make the civilians shake like a baby's rattle and the shinobi in the room stiffen to their straightest postures. The team assigned under Naruto looked like they really wanted to protest. Unsurprisingly, the vote was called and all of the clan heads except On were against Naruto's imprisonment while all elders and civilians were in favor of it. It all came down to Hiashi, because if he voted in Naruto's favor, then Tsunade could overrule it. With all eyes in the room on him, Hiashi glared at Naruto and spoke. I vote for detainment of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, he said stoically. Before either side could protest or celebrate, Naruto acted first and slammed 2 seals on the ground. One activated the chakra null zone, or so he made people believe, and the other seal paralyzed the council, or so he made them believe. The Anbu, no longer able to use their chakra, fell from their positions and took up defensive formations in front of the Hokage. Naruto flashed into GKM and took blurt around the room for 30 seconds. Without chakra, those in the room were helpless against someone that had the Kyuubi's chakra at his disposal. The chakra flare and an order from Danzo made 5 root shinobi appear. When they stepped through their trapdoor located behind the elders, they were summarily beheaded by Naruto's katana. The surprise of not being able to use their chakra disabled them from resisting. Naruto slowly and deliberately walked towards Danzo while every eye in the room tracked him. "You are a really evil piece of shit, Danzo. How does it feel to be the one who is so powerless now? You see, I knew from the moment an Onbu guard was assigned to me that something like this was going to happen. I knew that you couldn't fucking help yourself. You see a powerful asset in the village, and it must be yours." Tsunade struggled through the effects of the paralysis seal and said, "Naruto, don't do this, don't kill him." Naruto turned and beamed a smile at Tsunade. "Oh, I won't kill him, Hokage-sama. You see, I am loyal to you, but I refuse to be treated unjustly by this cripple and his lackeys. But I digress, I won't kill Danzo for he is not mine to kill. Danzo knows who I am talking about. But I will share a secret with this council, and I will make the old cripple easier to deal with." Naruto finished in a flourish and blurred forward to the immobilized Danzo and ripped off his bandages. Danzo refused to open the eye, but Naruto didn't care. He used his left hand to open the eye and the right hand formed into a snake strike. Just like the scene from Kill Bill, great movie filled with sexy actresses, Naruto surgically removed the Sharingan implanted in Danzo's right eye. The Mangekyo Sharingan of Shisui Uchiha stopped swirling as the chakra to it was cut. Naruto nicked his thumb on his tooth and trickled blood on the eye before turning it for the council to see. "You see, I am not the evil one here. I am not the problem, but you all refuse to see that. I am leaving and joining the woman I should have joined all those years ago. Before I go, enjoy your going away presents. Man, does it pay to be such a talented censor." Then there was a puff of smoke around Naruto as he substituted with a shadow clone. "Okay, you guys can talk in a second after boss has gotten away. Hello, I am a clone. That dude right there is fucking evil, ain't he?" The clone said, pointing at Danzo. Then it turned to Hiashi. I want to say boss was surprised, but he really wasn't. "You are a petty bastard. I will issue a warning on boss's behalf. If the Hyuga touch a single one of the girls I was close to, especially your daughter, well, he is a missing nin now and he has no compunction with giving your clan the Uchiha treatment. Sorry, Auntie Mikado." The shadow clone decided to have fun and he undid the silencing aspect of the paralysis seal. "Anyone have anything constructive to say? I wouldn't mind murdering the civilians right where they sit, so I recommend that side of the room keeps their mouths shut." "Why are you doing this, Naruto? We could have fought against it. We could have supported you," Tsume said, clearly frustrated. Everyone actually wanted to hear the answer to this, so it became eerily silent. The clone, looking in a genuinely grateful manner at Tsume, answered. "Inuzuka-sama, your clan will always be spared, should they locate my boss. The same is extended to the Uchiha, Nara, Akimichi, Yamanaka and everyone else's clan that saw me for me. As to why, because I was pushed too far for too long. I have a woman that loves and needs me, and I'm going to go be with her." Shikaku's eyes widened as he connected some dots. "You are going to join the Akatsuki?" The clone laughed. "I figured you'd come to that conclusion." "No, she left the organization for personal reasons and now that this council has pushed me, I'm going to find something better." Tsunade put her best betrayed face on. "So, you planned on this? You are going to betray me? You are going to betray Shizune, Hinata, Anko and Karen?" Naruto clone shrugged. "It was fun while it lasted, Tsunade-sama. I thought my betrayal by this council was a possibility. I was willing to give Konoha one last chance, but as I thought about it on the way back, I realized something. The village cares more about a traitor that killed a Konoha shinobi than a loyal, or now previously loyal, Jinchuriki. Now that I have the power, this council will continue to see me as enemy number one or some weapon to be directed at the world. I choose not to partake in that, and I did not wish to drag anyone down with me, except a special few." Hiashi scoffed, "As if my former daughter couldn't go any low." Hiashi was cut off by a chakra-enhanced slap, followed by a pimp slap that left marks on either side of Hiashi's face. The Naruto clone got down in Hiashi's face. "I urge you not to forget my former threat, Hiashi, and I would caution you against speaking in such a way in my presence. Oh, in case you consider that an empty threat, consider what the boss is doing to this village single-handedly. Now, take a second and think about what he could do to your clan alone." He turned away from Hiashi and addressed the full council once more. "Did you fools ever consider how stupid it was to piss off somebody that can easily make 1,000 shadow clones? What about all those shadow clones being seal masters? Ever think of that? That thought sent a shiver down the shinobi's spines. Inoki was analyzing this whole event, and something wasn't adding up, the last statement aside. Naruto, what aren't you telling us? I admit the council would never let you live easy, but you always push through it. Why give up now? What aren't you telling us, other than Danzo stole a Sharingan? Naruto's clone frowned sadly. I can't tell you that right now. When everything comes to light, things will make more sense. That is what I will say right now. These seals will last for another 8 or so hours, so I suggest you all get comfortable and talk it out. Feel free to have it now, I will put some chakra earmuffs on. With the real Naruto, after the substitution, Naruto took off all the clothes he was wearing on top of the Hokage monument and put on his new set. He gave the clothes he was wearing to a shadow clone, who ran off to distract future pursuers. The new set of clothes was fully loaded with all of his stuff, and it had an array of seals on it that would make it an absolute bitch to track him. Naruto was aware that Anbu were patrolling, so he went to the top of the Hokage monument and created 40 clones with enough chakra to outlast the council's detention. In the meantime, they were going to enact the sabotage of the tracking clans and the revenge on the elders and select civilians. Naruto himself took off towards the rendezvous point with Itachi that was in the opposite direction of the fire capital. It was child's play for him to sneak out and none of the alarms had gone off yet. He knew council meetings tended to drag on, so he hoped he would have a proper head start before things got hectic. He would like to make it to the fire capital before news of his escape reaches Kenji. With the Naruto clones, 2 of them snuck into the Inuzuka compound and released the compressed containers of pheromones. They felt bad for the female ninja dogs, but a clone's gotta do what a clone has gotta do. Once the dogs were properly distracted, the clones laced the drugs into their sealed food supply. Once their jobs were done, they dispelled to inform their brethren that the job was done. The Aburame compound was a difficult place to sneak into. All of the chakra-sensitive insects made it nearly impossible and the Aburame guarded their hives religiously. That being said, the Aburame are still human. Their food can be laced with a narcotic that humans don't pick up on and that their bugs are susceptible to. A quick trip to the clan kitchens and food storage made that easy enough. Then they followed same example as the first. The 3 clones at Danzo's house got to have some extra fun. Naruto knew the cripple spent most of his time underground and Danzo's ex-wife no longer lives with the surly bastard. The clones transformed into Danzo and his 2 bodyguards. They appeared at the front gate and the clone called out, "Root!" And 5 of Danzo's drones appeared kneeling in front of him. The clone continued the plan, the time has come to capture the Uzumaki girl. It was revealed that she was within the walls of the Senju compound. The council has been tied up with the Uzumaki boy, go now and retrieve her for me. The spy clones in Root's headquarters made this easy enough to imitate. They only had to worry about Root members with active Byakugan to infiltrate. Spying on Danzo was surprisingly easy as well and the clones seared his underground office for information. There was plenty of damning evidence in the mission logs, but nothing that would have cowed the Sandaime into letting him live. They did, however, find the Sharingan stashes in the medical bay. Needless to say, one of the combustion tags powered by Kurama's chakra was put in that room. I digress, the drones were sent into a seal trap laid by Naruto. He wanted to give Tsunade some more ammunition against Danzo and 5 dead Root outside of her clan's compound would give her that. Meanwhile, the transformed Naruto clones went into Danzo's home. They searched everywhere they could but found very little. With that said, they set the combustion tags around his home and set the timer for 8 hours. Fuck you, Danzo. It went on and on like this as 40 shadow clones with stabilizing seals did everything they could to distract Konoha. Life wouldn't be easy for his girls, but they would always have each other. Naruto took solace in that. One of his clones took a seat in Mikoto's room and waited to tell her everything. He would also give her a communication scroll so that she could stay in touch with Itachi. That was one positive surprise for this night. Another was a clone leaving detailed instructions that Jiraiya can follow for the application of the free bird seal. There was no way he was going to let the Hyuga return to that abomination. Back with the real Naruto, he was 10 miles outside of Konoha to the southeast, directly away from any of his allied nations and the fire capital. As he landed in an ambiguous clearing near a lake, Itachi appeared in a flock of crows and tackled him into a hug. She looked so genuinely happy to have him by her side. Her smile was so radiant that it outshone the setting sun. Naruto looped an arm around her neck and pulled her into a kiss before the two took off for the fire capital. As the two were arriving on the outskirts of the capital around 3 a.m., the seals in the council room faded and the councilors realized that they could move again. It was a torturous 8 hours of shouting, finger pointing and Danzo nearly bleeding to death from the wound to his eye. Danzo was once again crippled, maybe not as bad as he once was, but Shisui's was his main source of power and control. The council had decided that his actions would be investigated properly, and he was to stand trial for the wrongful acquisition of a Sharingan. There were a few other decisions that the clone got to listen to. First, Naruto was to be declared as rank missing ninja and his bounty exceeded that of Itachi's. Second, Tsunade threatened death to anyone that touched her apprentices. She announced Karen and Hinata under her protection and the council protested this, especially the elders. Tsunade said that they could take it up with the daimyo or listen to her. Nobody was stupid enough to spend political capital and approach the daimyo in a head-on fight against Tsunade. Third, they tried arguing that all of Naruto's assets should be seized. Tsunade cited clan law and laid claim to the assets. She is technically Naruto's closest living relative with proof of documentation. Finally, they decided to force Jiraiya to remove him from the Toad summoning contract. Tsunade let them know this wasn't likely to work, but she agreed to petition Jiraiya. Other than that, it was an absolute mess. None of the shinobi trained on how to break out of a chakra null zone. They had never seen it before the one was set up in Tsunade's office. Furthermore, the paralysis tags in the chakra null zone were pretty much irresistible. How can you fight off a foreign chakra when you can't use your own? Thus, right around 3:03 am when the seals faded, the council doors were busted open, and people began scrambling to issue orders. As orders were being issued, at 3:15 am the fireworks display began. Danzo Shimura's residence was ablaze and there were explosions that escaped out of various places that all led to Root's headquarters. The explosions were powerful enough to shake Konoha a bit and Danzo immediately set out in a rage with his right eye still bleeding. Homura and Koharu's house were painted the most obnoxious combination of orange and hot pink. They would also discover all of their jewelry and other valuable assets were missing. The Inuzuka compound was sheer chaos, the Aburame compound looked like they caught a case of the Naras and the Hyuga compound reeked of shit as all of the bathrooms were in use. The Nara deer were all wandering around the streets of Konoha and the Akimichi's food was missing. Regardless, teams were immediately formed and dispatched with shinobi that were fit to track. That was when roughly 500 shadow clones appeared in the forest, and they began running in all directions. The few who could track by scent, like Kakashi, were now useless as Naruto's scent was spread all over the forest. The clones that were caught went out in a variety of ways, but not a single one of them attacked a Konoha shinobi. Naruto and Itachi snuck into the daimyo's private chambers, and it wasn't easy. At any given time, there are 4 of the 12 fire guardians watching over the daimyo. Then there is also the samurai guard and a bunch of security seals. That being said, both of them were rank shinobi now and there was a reason for that. When the clone that shook Kenji awake caught a dagger to the throat, Naruto was glad that he chose to send a clone. Naruto knelt into a position of loyal servitude and bowed to Kenji. Kenji-sama, it is I, Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, and I needed to speak to you privately without your guards or court hearing of it. I sincerely apologize for the intrusion and scare, and I promise you what I have to say is of dire importance. When Kenji looked up and saw Naruto and Itachi, he didn't know what to think. He was inclined to be upset, but the boy had displayed outstanding character thus far. He decided to give him a chance. Speak, Uzumaki-san. I am rather offended that you are in my private chambers, he said wearily while looking around for his guard. Relax, Daimyo-sama, your guardians are in a genjutsu. We do not wish to harm you, in fact, we wish to help you, Itachi said in a soothing voice. Naruto continued bowing as he took over for Itachi. Once again, Daimyo-sama, I apologize for the intrusion. You see, what happened was. Kenji was shaking his head at the information he just heard and the scroll he held in his possession. He admitted that something needed to be done about Danzo, but this seemed drastic. Naruto, this is overboard. You are now a missing nin. Naruto nodded, I understand that. They pushed me too far. This will enable me to remove the rot from Konoha and Danzo will focus his attention on me. I only ask that you protect those I hold dear. If you can do that for me, I will be your eternal ally, my lord. Kenji nodded hesitantly, I can do that in honor of my friendship with your father. Beware, if you take this too far, I will not be able to cover for you. We understand, Daimyo-sama, Itachi said with a soft smile gracing her face. Very well, bring your copy of the mission scroll here. Understand that until your mission is complete that I cannot reveal this. When said time comes, you will have my backing, Kenji said before adding. I believe in both of you, make me proud. Naruto tossed a scroll to Kenji. You absolutely must contact us, write a message in that scroll and push chakra into the seal in the top right corner. If you see the seal blinking red, that means you have a message from me. After that, Naruto and Itachi made their way out of the daimyo's private chambers and slid out of the palace. It was amazing how easily they had snuck into the palace and accessed the daimyo, but hopefully this would serve as a wake-up call for Kenji. Naruto guided Itachi towards the western edge of the capital and did his best to follow his father's instructions. In the early morning light, he was looking for a hill that was equal parts west of the capital and north of the main road. It was supposed to be 5 miles out and Naruto was getting frustrated. Couldn't his father have given him more directions? Finally, a flock of Itachi's crows returned to Itachi, and she giggled at the dumbstruck look on Naruto's face. They followed one crow to said hill and Naruto was more easily able to understand. Eventually, Naruto and Itachi found a hatch in the ground that was covered by a discreet genjutsu barrier. Naruto worked his way through that and saw the trap door. Opening the door took a bit of his blood, which was surprisingly recognized by the seal. With a hiss of air equalizing the equilibrium in the seal underground chamber, Naruto and Itachi got to see what Minato left for them. Inside the bunker, Naruto put his hands on a seal and channeled some chakra. When the chakra lights flickered on, Naruto was aghast. This bunker was even more disorganized than his father's study. He noted that there were old stains on that paper that could only be one thing: blood. He was here on the night of the Kyuubi attack then. Naruto looked around the earthen dugout and was impressed by the size of it. The hideout was 20 feet underground and it was a 50-foot by 50-foot room with 10-foot high ceilings. It was clear that it was dug out with an earth jutsu, but it was surprisingly homely as the ventilation seals kicked on. Itachi perused around the bunker as Naruto scanned the documents on the desk. She noticed the weapons rack and decided to check that out rather than some dusty old scrolls. The bottom row was saved for swords and each sword had a tag with a date and name. Itachi chuckled at that. She wouldn't have pegged the Yondaime as a trophy taker. She saw swords from famous shinobi that were bested, and she saw a golden gauntlet that was modeled like a boxing glove with golden spikes on it. The label read, Battle of Raijin Pass, 3 road fight. Itachi chuckled as Naruto tossed her a sealing scroll to begin the process of packing this mess away. Naruto found notes on a variety of seals, but the main seal laid out on the desk was the same 8 trigram seal that was on his stomach. He reverently ran his hands over the parchment as his brain was drawn in by the intricate seal. At Kurama's urging, he rolled it up and packed it into the master scroll with a designation for seals. He then continued his work as he looked for the Hiraishin scroll. Of course, the scroll detailing Minato's notes and the original copied notes from Tobirama's version were behind another blood barrier. His father was over-reliant on the barrier type, in Naruto's mind. As the wound on his thumb healed, he delicately picked up the scroll and sealed it away. If he started looking at that now, then he wouldn't be able to focus on anything else. Hey, Ruto, could you perhaps make a few shadow clones to help? Itachi's melodic voice echoed around the underground chamber. After Naruto facepalmed, 10 clones joined the effort and they had everything sealed away with no further issues. There were 200 Hiraishin kunai, a variety of swords, including his mother's sword Benihime, and scrolls packed with standard kunai and shuriken. On top of that, the seals Naruto gathered and the several notebooks full of his father's notes were just a few of the treasures garnered from Minato's bunker. They packed everything up, climbed out of the hideout and Naruto reapplied the barrier. You never know when such a hideaway would come in handy. Without looking back, the two set off for their new destination, Uzushigakure no Sato. Unknown cave, unknown country, known people. In a cave, 2 people stood on top of a giant statue that resembled the husk of a beast of legend. It had 10 eyes and they were all closed. Its hands were shackled together and its fingers stood up vertically as if it were reaching up to grab something. The other 7 occupants of the room were strange and they glowed a variety of darker colors. They were astral projections that were able to meet, thanks to the power of the statue and the Rinnegan borne by the leader of the organization named Akatsuki. Pain, the leader of this rowdy band of misfits, opened the meeting now that everyone was present. Kisame, I would like to hear your report and then we will go to Zetsu. His voice was dull and dreary, but it carried a potent power within it. Kisame shuffled nervously and patted the handle of his sentient sword. Well, Itachi put me under a genjutsu and left a letter, her cloak and her ring. What did this letter say? Pain asked. Kisame cleared his throat uncomfortably. It said that she was leaving the organization and she wished us the best in our endeavors. She thanked me for being a good partner and that she, spit it out already, on. The blonde-haired, ponytailed, impatient member of the group shouted. This was Deidara, a missing nin from Iwa, and he was fanatical about his art. She's pregnant. Kisame muttered and got a stir out of the group. Who did that hottie sleep with? She was worthy of being Jashin-sama's bride. The crazed religious fanatic of the group shouted. His name was Hidan, a missing nin from Hot Springs Country, and he had a sort of immortality granted to him by a religious ritual. Damn, I wanted to take my shot at her. That is so unartistic, Deidara shouted. Which one of you is the lucky guy? A masked man named Toby joked. It wasn't me and it better not be Zetsu, said the hunchbacked figure that was completely obscured by the robes. This was Sasori of the Red Sands, a missing nin from Suna. I take offense to that. The white half of the plant creature named Zetsu said petulantly. Enough, Pain shouted while glaring around the room. It clearly was none of us. Kisame, did she engage with anyone during your travels? Not that I know of, Leader-sama. Kisame answered. Konan spoke up, there is no use in attempting to discern this. Itachi served us well for 3 years and she gave back our belongings. As a woman, I can understand her priorities. I vote we move on and look for a new member. Pain thought about this, but a man in an orange mask stepped forward. She is a low priority, but I would like to have her back. Otherwise, I agree. If you cross another missing ninja in your travels with rank abilities, then you may test them. If they pass, you may suggest them to Leader-sama. Nobody will be as sweet as Itachi, Deidara said melancholically. She made a good breakfast, and she was a great bounty hunter. Kakuzu, a missing nin from Takigakure, the village hidden in waterfalls. He was obsessed with money and bounties, and he acted as the Akatsuki's financier. Toby is going to miss her. Itachi was always so nice to Toby when he was a good boy. Damn it, y'all are going to make me cry. Kisame pouted, she was the best partner I could ask for and she up and leaves me for some guy. Zetsu coughed, I don't just think it is some guy. I have information from Konoha that may be relevant. Continue, Pain said curtly. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki fled Konoha 3 days ago. I have been unable to locate him, but didn't he have a past with Itachi? Zetsu offered. Kisame scoffed, we fought in the hotel, she fought against him for a couple minutes before that Jiraiya guy and the green spandex guy showed up. She kicked him through the wall and planted him pretty good in the hallway after she used her eyes on her little brother. So, you don't believe she is with the Kyuubi Jinchuriki? Pain asked. No, Leader-sama. That day was the only time we were near that brat, and we were fighting the whole time. Kisame answered and Seimata shrieked. Seimata agrees. Very well. Zetsu, your main task is to locate the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Were there any leads on where he went? Pain asked. Zetsu laughed, well, he created about 500 shadow clones to mask his retreat and his chakra was all over the forest. While I can't find him right away, I can tell you about what he did on his way out of Konoha. Oh. Toby wants to hear. What did the silly boy do? Toby asked animatedly. Well, he set Danzo's house on fire after stealing his stolen Sharingan. He held the whole council captive for 8 hours with some nice seal work. He made the Inuzuka Ninken rut until they collapsed by releasing pheromones, the Aburame were drugged, the Hyuga clan shit its brains out and then he finished it all off by blowing up Danzo's root headquarters. The whole village is in an uproar. White Zetsu reported in a gleeful tone. It was quite the sight. Konan and Pain each had maniacal grins on their faces when they heard what happened to Danzo. Pain then spoke, for what he did to Danzo, I wish you to offer the Kyuubi Jinchuriki a deal if you should see him. If he hands over the Kyuubi, I will use my Rinnegan to reanimate him myself. Oh yeah, that crippled warhawk is what started Akatsuki, isn't it? Kakuzu asked. No. Konan answered curtly before continuing. He is what made us take Akatsuki outside of just Amigakure. She is right. He set us up and is responsible for the death of our best friend and founder of the Akatsuki, Yahiko. Pain confirmed. I just want to give him a high five, That was some artistic shit. Way to go out with a blast, Deidara said animatedly before adding. And his old man really fucked with Iwa's heads. He is golden in my book. The orange mask stepped forward, he is not to be taken lightly. He is a dire threat and contains the strongest bijou. Itachi reported that his relationship with the bijou wasn't good, but should that change, he will pose a dire risk. Jiraiya's overdue gallant commentary, so, I know that was a lot to take in. Needless to say, everyone heard of how the son of the Yondaime made a fool of his old man's village on his way out the door. It sparked a search from almost every nation, major and minor, to locate Naruto. They all believed that he could be a potential asset if he despised Konoha that much. Plus, it was clear as day that he was powerful. Even Onoki sent a couple squads out to search with letters for recruitment. It is also at this point in the story that the Akatsuki become relevant. Naruto going missing delayed their timetables a bit and pushed things back. They eventually got itchy and started moving, but it bought most Jinchuriki another year or so to get their feet under themselves. That organization had some authentically terrifying people, and Konoha would not be untouched by its reach. As for Danzo, let me say this as clearly as I can: rot in hell, you filthy bastard. There are revelations that will ignite the flames of hatred among my valued readers. He deserved everything that he had coming to him and more. Most of Konoha got off easy during Naruto's escape in comparison, but that was the point. Naruto was calling Danzo out, and it would be a game they played with one another for years to come. Uzumaki, what can be said about the ancestral home and story of the Uzumaki? They were a peaceful and powerful clan that understood the inner workings of our world better than anyone else. The Uzumaki's intrinsic understanding for Fuinjutsu is just one aspect that this is manifested. They also had multiple summoning pacts and even a clan pact with the Shinigami. They were the only clan that could summon aspects of the Shinigami without paying the soul tax. They were an amazing, rowdy and friendly bunch of redheads who I miss dearly. The story of the Uzumaki clan is a tragic one. In the Second Great Shinobi War, Uzumaki suffered attacks from 3 villages at once. Iwa, Kumo and Kiri banded together and attacked the relatively small island with a combined force of 55,000 shinobi and 4 Jinchuriki. They were attacked for 2 reasons: fear and greed. Iwa and Kumo feared the ally of Konoha, who they were fighting against at the time. They feared the Uzumaki even though the clan abstained from direct combat, and they were only supplying weapons and seals to Konoha. This fear resulted in 3 of the 5 great villages attacking, and it was this fear that nearly wiped out the legendary Uzumaki clan that descended from the Sage of 6 Paths himself. The second reason was greed. Uzumaki was a hub of 3 islands, 2 of which were linked by a land bridge, and the third island is now known as Wave Country. It was a central trading hub, and its lands were rich in rare minerals. They had the finest seal masters, the finest blacksmiths, and they raised the finest shinobi per capita of any village, including Konoha. The 3 villages banded together in an attempt to seize the assets of Uzumaki by force. Too bad 3 great villages underestimated the wrath of the Uzumaki. During the 3-day battle for Uzu, 90 of the 97 ships that transported troops were destroyed. Of the force of 55,000, 50,000 were dead after the 3 days, and many of the survivors were wounded. Of the 4 Jinchuriki that played a key role in the battle, 2 were killed, 1 was crippled, and the last one was Roshi, Jinchuriki of the Gobi. The battle for Uzu caused a rift between him and the Tsuchikage for the remainder of his life. How, one may ask, how does a clan that numbered just over 4,800 people defend an island against such a force? Seals. The Uzumaki protected their homeland and their people ferociously. In fact, not once in recorded history did Uzumaki initiate an attack or war. They went out and kicked ass when needed to recover or avenge a fallen clan member. They sent punitive squads against Kiri for repeated piracy. The point is, the Uzumaki clan wanted peace, and they would defend their homeland at all costs in pursuit of that ideal. The Uzumaki fought against the coalition of nations for 3 whole days. It was bloody, it was gruesome, and it was terrifying. The remains of the battle were never laid to rest, and the riches of the Uzumaki clan were never claimed. 3 great nations went away mostly empty-handed, as even Uzumaki children chose death over subjugation. Even Uzumaki children died to defend their homeland. Almost down to the last man, woman and child. That being said, the Uzumaki were a spiteful bunch if you wronged them, and there was no way a clan of seal masters was going to let their invaders claim the spoils of war. Everything the Uzumaki clan had or valued was sealed away during the 3 days of battle. Even the legendary weapons of their distinguished leaders had reverse summoning seals that transported them to the vault when they died. It was the kind of wrath that every nation learned to fear on that fateful day. Before Konoha reinforcements arrived, the last of the Uzumaki activated the final defense of the island. The seals created tidal waves that impacted and ravaged the island and its invaders from all 4 sides. The island was waterlogged and submerged for nearly a whole year after that, and when it resurfaced, the landscape was just starting to regrow. The Fire Daimyo claimed the lands when Konoha won the Second War, and he kept them vacant for Kushina Uzumaki to reclaim them. When she died, Kenji left the island alone. It was impossible for an outsider to deactivate the whirlpools that reactivated when the final defense was activated. Thus, we find Itachi and Naruto flying on the Crow Boss over the sea. They landed on Uzu's main island a week after leaving Konoha. Naruto trusted Itachi when it came to moving around as a missing nin, and he deferred to her guidance on this topic. The island was beautiful from the sky, and it was clear that time had healed the old wounds of the island. It was about 3 times the size of Wave Country, a little over 300 square miles, and it had a prominent volcano on the northern edge of the island. Other than that, it was a hilly landscape filled with verdant valleys, amazing views and great port harbors. Wow, Naruto whispered in amazement as the Crow Boss descended from the sky. It is truly beautiful. Itachi admitted as Naruto's arms snuggled her into him and his hands rested on her baby bump. It sure is. They landed among the ruins of Uzumaki and Itachi promised Korra her fill of fish when they summoned her to depart the island. As the two explored the ruins of a once great city, Naruto couldn't help but feel the profound sense of sadness. The buildings were crumbled to ruin, and Naruto could understand why. He read in his mother's scrolls about the final defense of Uzu and he was grateful that his clansmen were at least given rest in the waters around Uzu. He was grateful that he wasn't walking through a graveyard of corpses. Itachi took his hand as she sensed his distress. It would likely be what she would feel if she strolled through an empty Uchiha compound. Except, in this case, the rich heritage was lost for good or hidden where nobody had been able to find it. She believed in Naruto, and she wanted to believe that the island would be able to recognize a true Uzumaki. She couldn't begin to comprehend how it would be possible, but she wanted to believe. The two made camp over the first night and Naruto was more restless than Itachi had ever seen him. He used to sleep so peacefully by her side when they were younger, or in the Tsukuyomi. She watched over him and stroked his hair while humming a suite as he tossed and turned. It was all she could do for him as sleep eluded her due to the pesky kicking of what was sure to be an obstinate Uzumaki child. Maybe her baby was restless for the same reasons as its father. Naruto couldn't clearly remember what he saw in the dream, but he would later describe it as an amalgamation of memories. Much like his shadow clones, the memories captured similar events from a variety of perspectives. It was the final day of the Uzumaki, and he saw what was to be the final meeting. There were 10 Uzumaki elders and they were ringed on the outside by 20 Uzumaki youth. There were sounds of battle that echoed through the ground and into the cavern where they resided. A man with red hair and battle-scarred armor entered the ceremonial room and told them that the last line of defense had fallen. The sound of battle drew closer before the sound cut out altogether, as if the space had been isolated from the outside world. The elders then led the children through a slow and deliberate seals of hand signs. Naruto may not remember the dream, but the peacefully resigned smiles of the adults and children would stay with him for the rest of his life. The ceremony summoned the power of Susanoo, the Shinto god of seas and storms, and the Shinigami. The seal array that spread all over the cavern glowed brilliantly as the 30 Uzumaki used their chakra, life force and souls to power the seals. A great rumbling was felt as the seals converted all humans had to offer into the divine wrath of two gods. The scene cut out there and one man with red hair and a face that looked like the hardened, male version of his mother's took its place. The violet eyes bore into Naruto's soul as the man spoke the final message of the Uzumaki clan. I am Arashir Uzumaki, Sandaime Uzukage of Uzumaki no Sato. If the seals worked properly, what you just witnessed was the final act of 30 brave souls that ensured Out Island would not fall prey to the whims of evil men. They honored the sacrifice of the thousands of Uzumaki warriors, the lives of our vassals and the lives of the civilians that called this island home. I give this message on the third day of battle against a coalition of 3 nations and I am sure the history books won't do it justice. However, I am not here to talk to you about history. I am here to ensure the legacy of the Uzumaki clan lives on. If you are receiving this message, it means that the seals recognized your Uzumaki blood, and our legacy depends on you. All I ask of my descendant is to use the knowledge I will guide you to in order to make the world a better place. The sins of mankind have denied peace to this world for too long. We attempted to show the world a better way of life and I will believe in the Uzumaki way until my dying breath. If you are receiving this message, please learn our way and teach it to your children so that the Uzumaki will live on. Finally, on behalf of the clan, I do not wish for you to seek a false justice or retribution against our invaders. Move forward, ever forward, and find happiness in family. Live your life with love and honor and that will be more than enough to honor the memory of our once great clan. The Uzumaki way can be boiled down into one simple phrase that carries so much meaning: family above all, always and forever. Find the scrolls and discover the meaning of that phrase for yourself, my descendant. With Itachi, Naruto starts squirming as a seal in the shape of a whirlpool appeared on his left wrist. The seal glowed a bright red before it settled down into a red tattoo that spun calmly along with the beating of Naruto's heart. She laid her head down on his chest and fell asleep to the soothing drumbeat of his heart. Itachi was awoken by Naruto, who had prepared eggs and bacon for her with the camping gear he had sealed away. The two ate in silence as Naruto watched the waves crash into the harbor with a faraway look in his eyes. He rose silently with the contemplative look on his face and offered a hand to Itachi to help her up. With that, Naruto walked forward slowly and deliberately towards the volcano on the northern edge of the island away from Uzumaki. The trip took most of the day at shinobi speed since the beautiful and steep hills of the island often dictated which path they took. They enjoyed the scenery together and Naruto eventually snapped out of his contemplation and told Itachi what he could remember of the dream. As they arrived at the base of the volcano, the seal on Naruto's wrist whirred to life and guided them up the volcano and into a cave that was covered by a powerful genjutsu. In front of their eyes, the genjutsu dispersed and revealed a door that bore the crest of the Uzumaki and had a blood seal in the center of the whirlpool that was intricately carved onto the door. Naruto used his blood to bypass the seal and they explored into the depths of the volcano. At some point, Naruto felt the familiar sensation of going through a barrier. Inside the barrier, Naruto could no longer sense the outside world and he instinctively knew that he was in a pocket dimension of sorts. Naruto and Itachi walked onto a balcony that overlooked the chamber. Laid out in front of Naruto was a vast library filled with rich history on the left side of the chamber and the right side was neatly organized with the possessions and treasures of the once great Uzumaki clan. It would take years to explore it all and Naruto dare not attempt to move it all. Itachi pointed out a tight spiral staircase that descended from the balcony and Naruto followed her down. At the base of the staircase was a podium that contained a single book. The book was titled Legacy of the Uzumaki and there was a barrier that blocked off the rest of the great space. Naruto felt guided to open the book and when he did, a seal matrices greeted him on the first page and the rest of the book refused to be opened. Naruto took a second to inspect the seal and there were two parts to it, much like a summoning contract. The first part contained a space for a palm print around which intricate seals intertwined. Below that was a designated gap in the seal and that was for him to write his name. This was a book of inheritance and legacy. This was the key to his clan's history and knowledge. Without further hesitation, Naruto used one of his father's kunai to cut his palm and he smeared the blood on each of his fingers before placing his palm onto the paper. The book glowed a vibrant blue as Naruto felt a significant pull on his chakra. After the glow faded, Naruto saw that his palm print had settled into permanent ink on the page. He then took his blood and scrawled his name as neatly as he possibly could, Uzumaki Naruto. The chakra drain was much less this time and the same process happened before the distinctions between each page became real again as Naruto was able to turn the page. The first name written was Kenshin Uzumaki, second son of Ashura Otsutsuki and Honoka Senju Otsutsuki. Looks like the split between Uzumaki and Senju happened at the very beginning. If Kenshin was the second son, then the eldest son most likely inherited the Senju clan name, Itachi said as she read over his shoulder. Naruto muttered as he flipped through the book. He was right, this was a book of clan ownership as Arashura Uzumaki was the last name before his. The book dated all the way back to the days of the son of the sage. I remember that boy, Ashura and Kenshin. Itachi-chan is right in her suggestion. To think they kept records from that point in time. Kurama said through the mindscape in fascination. The page after Arashura's was his and the page following that contained the same whirlpool seal as the one on his wrist. Naruto read the details of the seal in fascination, and he gasped, amazing, when he completed it. As he continued to read, they became more and more enthralled with his clan until Itachi cleared her throat with an expectant look. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly, ha ha, sorry, Chi-chan. I got wrapped up in how kick-ass my clan was. This seal on my wrist can pull me into this room from anywhere. It is like a space-time key that only I am allowed to have. Naruto flipped through a couple pages and laughed at what he saw. He put the book down, pointed it out to Itachi and explained. It seems like some kind of blood seal. See? You are already in the registry, which means you are allowed access in and that blank space under our names probably will be filled by our son or daughter. In his excitement, Naruto may have missed the fact that 4 more names were linked to his own. Itachi cocked an eyebrow and pointed to them. Care to explain, Naruto? Her tone was so overly friendly that it shot ice down Naruto's veins. Naruto chuckled nervously, ha ha, well, you see. No, I don't see, that is why I am asking for an explanation, Itachi said and now Naruto's veins burned as if they were filled with icy sea water. Naruto sighed, when I told the girls that you were pregnant, Shizune and Tsunade pointed out that they were kind of on a biological clock. Anko has loved me since you left and Karen, well, Karen is clan and wanted to restart the Uzumaki clan with me. Itachi sighed and buried her head in her hands before she looked up with a silly smile. Oh well, I got you to myself for one lifetime already. I guess it would be fun with a crazy big family. Naruto pulled her into a hug. When you left, I was like your brother. Kurama hated it and she issued the yes man challenge that I told you about. That helped me to open up in ways I never would have been able to and maybe I was a little too open. I am like a calling card for every girl with a tragic past. I learned to resonate with them and when I feel that genuine connection, well, yeah. Itachi pushed out of the hug and patted Naruto on the cheek while chastising him. My little pervert blaming poor little Kurama for his own actions. Kurama formed a shadow clone for herself and rapped Itachi from behind. Actually, this one is kinda my fault. Itachi shook her head. Alrighty then. Well, it is getting late. Want to explore and find a place to sleep? They didn't have to look far. It was almost as if the architect knew that there would be too much here to explore for one day. The room past the door that allowed them entry through the barrier led to a bedroom with multiple queen-sized beds in it that looked as if they were neatly folded that morning. The things Naruto's clan could do with Fuinjutsu were truly amazing. They continued to explore the library for days. The cavern was massive and awe-inspiring. To think that the clan could do something like this while they were under siege. Naruto's clones ran everywhere for the whole week and Naruto was grateful for his healing factor because even with his blood he was starting to develop a migraine. It was such a vast compendium of knowledge that it boggled the mid. On day 3, they went to the armory and Naruto let each of them select their own weapons. Kurama pointed out a particularly beautiful sword and told Naruto the story of its crafting. It was made from a meteorite that crashed into a moon by Homura Otsutsuki and he gifted it to her for her 18th birthday. She had lost the blade centuries later and she was more than happy to reclaim the 5-foot-long scimitar. She had Naruto pick up the blade and she pushed her chakra into his hand as the blade sliced into it and absorbed his blood. He would hold on to Tsuki no Megumi for Kurama to use in the future. Itachi was drawn to a pair of dual assassin blades. Their crafting was an intricate curved, one-edged blade with 4 inverted spikes on the backside of each blade. Their blades were 14 inches long, made of obsidian and the intricately carved seals formed into the blades' names, Cain and Abel. Kurama told the two about the old god and about how he first created humanity. Cain was the first human to take another human's life and it propagated the wars that preceded chakra. Itachi sheathed the beautiful black blades into the pure white and blood-red sheaths. Naruto walked through the amazing relics of his clan, but nothing had called out to his soul yet. That was until he saw the 70-inch katana that was tucked into a blood-red sheath with dragons tracing down both flat sides of the sheath. The hilt hand intricately woven red threads with black threads that spelled out Uzu. Naruto wasn't able to lift the blade until he cut his palm and placed it onto the whirlpool seal on the sheath. His whirlpool tattoo spun wildly as he picked up the blade that belonged to each leader of the Uzumaki since Uzushiagakure's founding, Uzu no Hashi, or Whirlpool's Edge. Konoha Council. 1 week after Naruto's desertion, Tsunade sighed fondly as she rubbed the picture she chose for Naruto's bingo book entry. She was ready to do it and she had Naruto's express blessing, but it still made her nervous putting his Azin's rank bounty worth 20 million ryu. She oddly read the entry as she prepared to go into yet another council meeting. Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, 16 years old rank, S bounty, 20 million ryu parentage, mother, Uzumaki Kushina, deceased, Whirlpool Princess, Red Death, S rank Kunoichi. Father, Namikaze Minato, deceased, Yondaime Hokage, Kiroi Senko, SS rank Shinobi Bio. He is the Kyubi Jinchuriki formerly of Konoha and he is Jiraiya the Toad Sanin's apprentice. He graduated top of his class and achieved Chunin promotion with 6 months after graduation at his first Chunin exams. Left Konoha 1 week ago after holding Konoha Council hostage and assaulting village elders and clan heads. Achievements: killed Momochi Zabuza in Wave Country as a Jinan. Defeated Ichibi Jinchuriki in combat when Jinchuriki unleashed Shukaku, fought Snake Sanin Orochimaru twice. Skills. Jinchuriki is known to be capable of using at least 6 tails of Kyubi's chakra. If he activates Chakra Cloak, recommended to surrender. Taijutsu, A, multiple styles. Raw physical strength and speed make him a serious risk. Known to use Raiten to increase Taijutsu efficiency. Genjutsu, B, trained by Genjutsu Master Itachi Uchiha Kenjutsu. S, known master of Crescent Moon style, known master of Berserker's Dance, wielder of Quobe Kiribocho Ninjutsu. S, high water affinity, high lightning affinity, moderate fire affinity Fuinjutsu, master, exceeds level 8 seal mastery of Jiraiya the Toad Sanin preferences, uses shadow clones with outstanding proficiency. Recommendations: do not engage unless you are of the Jonin level. Recommend engaging with squad of Jonin or full standard company of shinobi. He is not bloodthirsty. If you are not a shitty person, just talk to him. Tsunade laughed as she read that last part. The girls insisted that she put that in there so that Ruto wouldn't need to kill as many people. She knew that he would be okay while traveling with Itachi. That girl had been a missing nin for years and she hadn't been seen for 3 whole years before she showed back up in Konoha. That thought at least made Tsunade smile. Tsunade looked up as Shizune, Hinata and Karen entered her office. She had really grown to love these 3 and she was going to do whatever was necessary to protect them. She had shared the first message Naruto sent to her with them last night and they were all glad to know things were going well. She also received a letter carried by one of the daimyo's samurai captains. The letter contained her signed copy of the SS rank mission scrolls and it included a letter of gratitude for including him in the small group of those who know. "It is time, Tsunade-sama," Shizune said politely as she got Tsunade's attention. The other two sat down at their small desks on either side of Tsunade's desk. Tsunade created a shadow clone to continue the paperwork and she walked to the council chambers. She was more than pleased to not see Danzo in the chambers. That old cripple was once again crippled by Naruto, and it would be much harder for him to recover this time around without Shisui's Sharingan. It was a fact that made Mikoto and Tsunade breathe a whole lot easier. Speaking of Mikoto, she had nearly crushed the reinforced shadow clone in a hug when it told her that Itachi was pregnant. It also relayed the plan to her, and she was more than happy to play her part. Her daughter and future son-in-law were much too self-sacrificing for her tastes. That being said, she had her current son to worry about in this council meeting and she didn't know how she should feel. She was so appalled by the fact that he murdered his teammate in cold blood that she really didn't know what she should be hoping for out of this council meeting. "I call this council meeting to order," Tsunade hollered over the chatter of the extended council of Konoha. "The first order of business today is the testimony and charging of Uchiha Sasuke for the murder of Haruno Sakura and attempted betrayal of Konohagakure no Sato." Sasuke stepped forward amidst loud conversations and glares from almost every clan head. The boy looked obstinate and self-righteous as ever. He stood bound in chakra-suppressing handcuffs and the 3 seals Naruto had applied to him remained intact. Sasuke sneered at Tsunade before offering her a curt bow. "Uchiha Sasuke, how do you plead to the charges?" Tsunade said as if the answer were obvious. "Not guilty on both counts," Sasuke said. "Come again?" Tsunade asked incredulously. "Not guilty on both counts," Sasuke repeated. "I was influenced by Orochimaru's cursed seal and Itachi's genjutsu. I plead not guilty on both counts." This got a stir out of the council and Koharu and Homura were wearing smug looks. Shikaku Nara stood up and was clearly not pleased. "Do you intend to mock us?" Sasuke looked impassively at Shikaku. "Have you ever been under the effects of a mind-altering seal or prolonged genjutsu?" "I do not mock you. I plead not guilty," Tsunade sighed. "Very well, we have the full council here today. We can decide your fate here or in a shinobi court. Want to string it along or get it over with, kid?" Sasuke sneered at the kid comment before lifting his chin in the air. "I'll get it over with." Tsunade gestured towards him with her left hand in a bored fashion while resting her chin on her right hand. "Get on with it then." Sasuke turned and addressed the civilian council for most of his address. "I have had Orochimaru's cursed seal for over 6 months. There is undeniably a mind-altering effect in the seal. My proof is that I feel like I can think clearly again with my chakra fully suppressed. The seal combined with provocation from my sister and the traitor Uzumaki Naruto influenced me to commit those heinous crimes. I would not have done so under my free will." Sasuke turned on the waterworks here. "Shikaku, would you do the honors on behalf of the aggrieved party, Konoha Shinobi in this instance," Tsunade said without changing her position. Shikaku stood and addressed the council. He sincerely disliked the stuck-up boy. He was too lazy to hate him because that would be far too troublesome. Uchiha Sasuke started among the top of his class in the academy, and he performed adequately in the Chunin exams. He is among the top of his graduating class in talent, and he is a bearer of the Sharingan. If Uzumaki Naruto's testimony is to be believed, then he required the use of the Kyuubi's chakra to fight on equal foot to Sasuke when he was using the Mangekyo Sharingan. He did not. Sasuke interrupted Shikaku. "I hate saying this, but he defeated me without using the Kyuubi's chakra." This got a stir in the council, and it made Tsunade curse under her breath. Testimony from Rock Lee, Nara Shikamaru and Hyuga Neji stated that he used the Kyuubi's chakra during the encounter with the Oto Shinobi. One of our prisoners confirms that as well. "Are you saying their statements are inaccurate?" Shikaku retorted. "No," Sasuke said blandly, "I saw him in that form as I emerged from the barrel that they stuffed me into. When he was fighting me in the Valley of the End, I saw no such chakra. Why would Naruto lie on his report? Are you sure you are remembering things clearly?" Sume challenged. "The Sharingan give me perfect memory recall and allows me to see chakra. In fact, that memory recall is part of how Itachi tampered with my mind. She altered my memories during my confrontation with her and Naruto in Tanuki Town." "What do you mean with her and Naruto? Didn't you interrupt her fight with Naruto?" Inoiki asked since he had been helping Sasuke with counseling. Sasuke scoffed and cringed a little bit at the memory before speaking. "That was the memory she implanted. When I activated my Mangekyo Sharingan, I regained my full memory. I walked in on Naruto and my sister fucking. What was worse is he was fucking her in the ass. When I charged in, Naruto created clones that disabled me while he continued the act. That was what I remembered, and that is why I claimed that I was not thinking clearly. This earned outrage from the council and the room was abuzz with chatter. Most brothers that had hot sisters understood, and they cringed at the thought of walking in on their sisters during such an act. Tsunade slammed her gavel and restored order before she spoke. Thank you for sharing that information with us. One fact to clear up though, Haruno Sakura attempted to stop you on the way out of the gate, did she not? You only awakened your Mangekyo Sharingan after killing her, is that correct? Sasuke clicked his teeth. Damn Senju bitch, ruining the mood. That is correct on both counts. Homura stepped in here, it is clear that was the influence of the cursed seal. Shikaku once again stood, it was well documented since the Uchiha Mas incident that Sasuke was focused solely on killing his sister and avenging his clan. The civilian council ignored our recommendations for counseling and other help. The killing of Haruno Sakura is the key issue here. We cannot let him slide when he killed a fellow Konoha shinobi. Koharu spoke up this time. If the cursed seal were sealed properly, then we could reinstate him as a full Konoha shinobi and put him on probation for 6 months. I agree that he cannot go unpunished, but the sinister machinations of Orochimaru cannot be underestimated. Furthermore, he is one of 2 Uchiha loyal to Konoha with the Mangekyo Sharingan. Why is that relevant? Tsunade asked. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki is now a missing nin and he has promised retribution to Konoha. The MS is the only thing left in the village that can hope to control, if not suppress, the Kyuubi. We cannot do away with such an asset. Koharu finished, and this time there were a few on the shinobi side of the council that seemed to be swayed. Mikoto stood up. If Uzumaki Naruto wanted us dead, then we would have been dead. If he wanted to destroy the village, then he could have done much worse than what he did on his way out. The fact is that he threatened the Elder Council, and they are pooping in their geriatric pants. I love my son, but he needs time to heal, get counseling and reflect on his actions. There were a couple of suggested punishments and multiple votes that took nearly an hour to go through. The following was the agreed upon punishment for Uchiha Sasuke. Tsunade wanted to blow up the Hokage tower rather than read this verdict, but she stomached it. She was only putting on an act until Naruto and Itachi could purify her grandfather's village of this taint. Tsunade cleared her throat and announced the verdict. Uchiha Sasuke, you are deemed guilty of the murder of a Konoha shinobi under duress. Your punishment for this crime will be 1 year of your chakra being completely sealed. You are to remain within the confines of the Uchiha compound, and you will receive counseling from an appointed counselor twice a week for that year. Pending a psychological evaluation, you will be allowed back on active duty with another year of probation. If you get through that probation, you will be given your full shinobi status back and your record will be expunged. For the crime of attempted desertion, the council has deemed you not guilty due to the influence of the cursed seal. You will submit yourself to have the seal contained by a seal master of my choice. Should you activate the cursed seal again, you will be removed from active duty. Such is the verdict of the Council of Konoha. Sasuke bowed. Thank you for your consideration, counselors. Internally, Sasuke was seething. That was a full year that he couldn't train, and it was another year that Itachi would get to live. Tsunade wanted to be done, but they weren't done yet. Moving on, there is the issue of Uzumaki Naruto. We need updates on recent findings, and the council calls Jiraiya of the Sanin to the floor. Jiraiya stayed leaned against the wall. Go ahead and ask your questions. I ain't moving into the tiny circle of stairs. Homura stepped forward. The Toad contract was procured by yourself, and as such it was created as a Konoha contract. The Konoha Council wishes for you to remove Uzumaki Naruto as a summoner of the Toad clan. No can do, Jiraiya said simply. What? Why not? Homura shouted in anger at the instant denial. Because the Gaki told the Toads the whole story in front of the whole clan. They have refused to remove him. Jiraiya replied dispassionately. That is outrageous. Those little amphibians allied with Konoha, Koharu shouted. Jiraiya leaned off the wall and flared his ki, call the Toads that again and I rip your head off, consequences be damned. Koharu backed down and starting wobbling on her ancient legs, and a slight bit of dust fell out of her wrinkled vagina at Jiraiya's ki. My apologies, Jiraiya. Could you summon the Toads so we could negotiate with them? It brings shame on Konoha for a missing nin to have a contract historically bound to us. Jiraiya clicked his teeth and clapped his hands together to gather chakra. After a minute, he went through the summoning and Ma and Pa appeared on his shoulders. They looked around at the council and didn't even need to ask Jiraiya what was going on. What do you want? Ma said agitatedly while threatening with her ladle. I was in the middle of cookin'. Ma and Pa, it is good time see you again. The council wishes to ask something of you, Tsunade said to get this over with. Go ahead, Pa said stoically. Koharu recovered her wits and spoke to the Toads, you need to remove Uzumaki Naruto from the Toad summoning contract. He is a missing nin and the contract allies you with Konoha. No. The two replied flatly in unison. And why not? Homura asked as the civilians sputtered in indignation. Why should we listen to any of you? We get to choose our summoners, it is not the other way around. Ma challenged. But, it is a Konoha contract. Homura sputtered. Oh, is that all? Pa said in false cheer. Jiraiya boy, we can rewrite the contract then and you can sign that one. Jiraiya shrugged, sure thing, Pa. Just let me know what you need me to do. Wait, Shikaku shouted since he knew how much prestige the village would lose by doing this. We are not demanding this of you. We would rather retain the contract loyalty. Would you be open to adding another summoner from Konoha? We can have your contract only have a missing nin. Nah, I think I will make it a family contract with Naruto boy. He is a good Pa said cheerily, which earned outrage from the council, and it made it hard for Jiraiya to suppress his laughter. We are done with this, Jiraiya boy. Come to Maya Aku-san when you are done with this foolishness. Come for dinner, Jiraiya-chan. Ma called cheerily before they each dispersed in a puff of smoke. Jiraiya started clapping ominously while glaring at the elders. Great. Fucking job. Really, good on you, he said facetiously. Tsunade was really struggling to contain her laughter. She liked the Toad contract better as a family contract and she was going to suggest the same thing to Katsuyu. Her apprentices were ready to take Katsuyu's test and she knew they would each be a part of the Uzumaki. Moving on, Tsunade said blandly. Sume stood up, the Hunter Corps has no leads. We have sent teams to Suna, Wave and Spring Country and have no leads. There are 12 active teams out. This is looking to be a Kodatachi. Even if my teams found him, if those two are together then there is no team in Konoha that could handle them. This started muttering among the council. Tsunade nodded, I made that conclusion as well when Sasuke informed us of his intimate relationship with Itachi. This made the muttering escalate into a dull roar. Lady Mikoto, a civilian began, did you know your daughter was close with the demon? Mikoto clamped her fists in anger, and it was only a soft look from Tsunade that helped her reel it in. My daughter and Naruto were close. She saved him when he was young, and they grew up training together in secret. I would like to point out that Naruto was not and is not the QB. You, ignorant people, can't see that. He betrayed us in the village, yes, but he is not a demon. So, you support the bastard traitor, mother? Sasuke snarled while spitting the title of mother. Mikoto activated her MS and glared at Sasuke, you will not speak to your mother that way in public ever again. She screamed before taking a breath and addressing the council. I recognize both of them as traitors to Konoha. Tsunade could tell that statement really hurt Mikoto's heart and she made a note to invite her over for drinks. Tsunade yawned and sighed, is there anything else to address? Hiashi stood up, the Hyuga clan wishes to reclaim Hyuga Hinata seeing as the previous agreement is voided due to his missing nin status. Denied, Tsunade said immediately. On what grounds? Hiashi bellowed. Tsunade shrugged, there are a couple, actually. I am the closest recognized living relative to Naruto. As such, I inherit all of his property that he forfeited by betraying the village. Per the terms of the grudge, Naruto took ownership over Hinata under the banner of the Uzumaki. He could have branded her a slave if he had so chosen. As such, she is my property. Furthermore, she is my apprentice and under my protection. She will not be returning to the Hyuga clan unless she so chooses. Hiashi growled, that is nonsense. The grudge was signed by Kenji-sama himself. You have no political or familial claim to Hinata. You branded and disowned her before the conclusion of the grudge and she became a possession of the Uzumaki clan, not Naruto. Should you take any action, I will oppose it. Need I remind you of Naruto's threat as well? I do not wish to lose a whole clan due to your foolish pride. Tsunade finished. Haru no Kuni, Spring Country. 5 months later, Naruto and Itachi were praying together in a Shinto temple that was inlaid into the hospital in Spring Country's capital. They prayed to Kami and Izanami, the goddesses of creation and motherhood, for a safe delivery, protection for their child and strength for the challenges to come. They held hands contentedly as Itachi was preparing to go into labor. With a squeeze, Naruto stood first and then offered his hand to Itachi. The two turned around and gave a small nod and smile to Jiraiya, Kurama, and Koyuki, who were present with them for this grand occasion. Naruto and Itachi showed up in Spring Country 2 months after the shenanigans in Konoha. Koyuki hadn't taken long to bring into the family, seeing as she was already intimate with Naruto. They determined that it would be best to keep it under wraps because of Naruto's missing nin status and Spring Country's lack of a proper defense force. In fact, representatives from Konoha journeyed to her lands a month after he left Konoha. She wasn't happy to greet them, but she couldn't simply cancel the treaty with Hai no Kuni nor Konoha out of the blue. She was glad that she didn't, because Naruto asked her to maintain the alliance in order to improve the quality of life for Tsunade and his girls. Speaking of the girls left behind in Konoha, they were well and truly pregnant, and they were super excited. Naruto had communicated with them via their scrolls regularly, and he had arranged a special little trip for them. Jiraiya was in Spring Country, and he had a fragment of Katsuyu and Melissa from Anko. The plan was to allow them to visit through reverse summoning, and they would leave reinforced shadow clones in their places. They wouldn't be able to last for all that long, but it would be enough time for them to get their Naruto fix and congratulate Itachi. The time in Konoha had not been easy for them, and it was tough to determine exactly who had it the roughest. Most agreed that it was Tsunade, because she had to deal with the miserable council day in and day out on top of all the other duties she had. Plus, the slug Sanin was now just over 5 months pregnant, and that was making her more agitated than normal. Jiraiya had caught more than a few errant chakra-powered fists after he was done pouting, and the shinobi corps was witness to 48 desks being disintegrated into splinters. Long story short, Tsunade probably had it the roughest. That didn't make things easy for Hinata. She never traveled through the village alone and was routine harassed by her clan on behalf of her father. Even with the free bird seal, her father and the main family maintained almost complete control over the class through control of the businesses and family assets. Some of the less profitable businesses were handed over to prominent branch family members, but there was still an insufferable hierarchy in the Hyuga clan. That resulted in attempts to corner Hinata and other unwelcome advances. They had also tried to force an arranged marriage on her, which Tsunade promptly tore up in Hyashi's face. To summarize, the Hyuga were a bunch of petty bastards, and it was only Hinata's team and Tsunade's status that kept her safe and sane. Karen was subjugated to the greedy fools on the council. The main reason for this was that she was the Uzumaki heiress, and when she turned 18, Tsunade would be forced to turn the clan assets over to her. They also tried forcing her into the CRA, but that resulted in Tsunade breaking a counselor's ribs in front of the council, healing him and doing it again for 3 rotations. That was the last time the CRA was mentioned, for now. Other than that, Karen spent all of her time studying medicine under Tsunade and developing the beginner forms of her super strength. As always for an Uzumaki, it was family that got her through the worst of it. Shizune had an easier time than most. She was played up as the one who was betrayed by Naruto. However, that meant she had to deal with the advances of dickish man and man children that didn't have the first clue how to treat a lady. The Ice Queens of Konoha readily welcomed Shizune into their ranks, and that combined with her senior apprenticeship to Tsunade made her untouchable for the most part. Shizune did her best to maintain her duties as Tsunade's secretary, and the God I'm Hokage would be lost without Shizune by her side. "So, Gaki, you ready for this?" Jiraiya said as he leaned against the doorway to Itachi's medical room. Naruto shrugged as he sat next to Itachi and held her hand. "I have the easy part, it is Chi-chan that is doing all the work." Itachi pulled his hand to her lips and gave it a kiss. "I can just focus on pushing. With my human chew toy here, I know nothing bad will happen," she said in a joking manner. Jiraiya laughed boisterously at that. He had arrived 2 days ago, and he was grateful to be back with his student. "I don't want to distract from the grand occasion, but is there something wrong with your eyes? I just can't put my finger on it, but there is something there." Naruto looked to Itachi, and Itachi nodded with a small smile on her face. Naruto looked up and activated his eyes, which made Jiraiya take a step back in shock. Flashback, Uzumaki Vault, Week 3 on the island. Itachi approached Naruto from behind, and she was nervous about what she was going to suggest. She knew that Naruto would likely protest it, and there is a good chance that Kurama wouldn't like it. She clutched the book on the Sage of Six Paths to her chest and walked into the isolated room where Naruto was studying. His clones were everywhere, but Naruto always sat in this room. It was enchanted to give a view out over the ocean, and it replicated the noise and breeze. Long live Uzumaki Fuinjutsu. That shit rocks. Ruto, Itachi began hesitantly. Can I have your undivided attention for a while? Her tone immediately made Naruto's head snap to her with a look of concern on his face. What is it, Chi-chan? Where is Kurama? Itachi asked, and Naruto nodded down to the seal. Just then, a clone formed and took Kurama's form. What's up, Itachi-chan? The Kitsune beauty asked. Itachi took a deep breath, sorted her thoughts and put the book down on the table. Naruto and Kurama both looked at the title and then back to Itachi in question. She then began explaining, "Ruto, I want you to take Shisui's Mangekyo Sharingan." "Come again?" Naruto asked in disbelief. Kurama growled protectively, "Why would you ask him to do that?" Itachi flipped the book open to the page she had marked, and she left the two of them read. It explained the theory behind the division of Heigromo Otsutsuki's chakra into his two sons, Indra and Ashura. It explains how Indra became the fount of the Uchiha with his dujutsu and sharp mind, while Ashura had amazing physical prowess and a connection to nature. The two of them read the complete section and looked back expectantly at Itachi. Itachi then continued, "With your blood, you would never have to worry about your eyes fading and they would be transplants already anyway. Naruto, the main reason I want this is to protect you and our family. Pain has the Rinnegan and sooner or later he will come for you. That isn't even addressing the fact that 4 of those members could beat me in a straight-up fight, and it is not a matter of if we will fight them but when." Naruto wasn't dismissing the idea outright, but he was far from sure. "Why give me the eyes and show me this? Do you think I will awaken the Rinnegan? I don't even have the proper chakra pathways to my eyes." Kurama scoffed, "That much is easy enough to do. I can create the Tenketsu, but you will have to develop it to the point where you can feed enough chakra to awaken, or in this case simply activate, the Sharingan." Itachi stepped forward and looked into Naruto's eyes. "Yes, I believe you can awaken it. Your blood is miraculous, your body is amazing, and you have Q to guide you." Naruto sighed, "Q? What are your thoughts? You are my mate, and I don't want to disrespect you by throwing MS into my eyes because I know you despise the Sharingan." Kurama stepped forward and placed her hand on Naruto's right cheek and she used her thumb to rub his whisker marks affectionately. The Kitsune beauty's smile lit up the room when Naruto's head leaned into her touch. "I trust you with all that I am, Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto. I have no fear of you turning those eyes on me for I know your soul, and you mine." Naruto leaned forward and captured her lips in the most intimate kiss they could muster, and it made Itachi moan in slight jealousy. As Naruto's lips left her own, Kurama looked into his eyes and decided to say something. "Although, I am not going to let your eye color change. Those eyes must stay." Itachi broke the kiss with Naruto and smiled, "I agree, can you do that?" Kurama nodded while Naruto took a passenger seat in the conversation. "With the seal open, I can make a lot of changes. I think I could even change the color of the activated Sharingan. Much more than that and I would risk breaking the eyes though. Fuck it, let's do it. What's the worst that can happen?" End of flashback. "So, yeah, Kyofu, I have the Sharingan now as if it were my own." Naruto finished explaining as Jiraiya remained dumbfounded. Jiraiya was gawking at the Sharingan eyes of his godson that were spinning idly. The iris was an electric blue and the koma, or tomo, were a pristine white. They still had the same shape and still spun in the same way, but they were their own unique color. Jiraiya didn't know how to process all of the information that was just revealed. He had been on another bender, and he was just now getting back to being himself. As such, he was very much out of the loop when it came to Itachi and Naruto. "So, to summarize, you found the Uzumaki vault, read a bunch of books, almost have your father's Hiraishin down and now you have the Sharingan of Shisui Uchiha. Is that why you took Danzo's eye?" Jiraiya got sidetracked by the last thought. "No." Naruto answered, "I wanted to cripple the cripple. He is all off and that was not the only Sharingan he has. After the baby is born and I get the Hiraishin at least travel ready, I will begin my hunt for Danzo's root." Jiraiya nodded, "Don't forget that you have 4 more coming in less than 4 months, Gaki." Jiraiya frowned at the thought of Tsunade having a kid with Naruto and Naruto felt the negative spike in his godfather's chakra. Naruto took a deep breath and went to hug Jiraiya. "It was never my intention to hurt you, Kyofu. If it helps you at all, I will tell you that I truly love her, and I will take care of her with all I have." Naruto pulled Jiraiya into the room and closed the door before placing a privacy seal on the door. Jiraiya leaned into the hug and tears began trickling from his eyes. "I just don't know how to feel, Ruto." Jiraiya began sobbing, "I was so angry and jealous when I found out. I was so bitter and filled with resentment that It doesn't matter anymore, Kyofu." "It doesn't matter," Naruto soothed his godfather while Itachi watched the scene with an affectionate smile on her face. "It matters to me, Naruto. I wasn't there to stop this shit from spiraling out of control and now you are on the run. You are a missing nin for Kami's sake," Jiraiya shouted through his sobs. "And I am happy." Naruto answered back softly. "I am finally able to support Itachi, I have a plan to fix our village and restore the will of fire and I have my family. That is all I will ever need." Naruto pulled Jiraiya firmly into himself and whispered, "I forgive you. The only thing I ask is that you take the time to sort your feelings out, and someday, maybe, you can forgive me for taking your harem." Jiraiya lost what was remaining of his proverbial shit. His cried uproariously into Naruto's shoulder for nearly 20 minutes. When he stopped crying, he pulled his arms tightly around Naruto and told him that he was all better. He cocked his head to the side when Naruto handed him 2 cotton swabs, and he giggled the most perverted giggle of his life when Naruto whispered into his ear. Jiraiya shoved the 2 pieces of cotton into his nostrils and gave Naruto a big and goofy thumbs up. Naruto activated his Sharingan and sent Jiraiya to paradise. "What did you do, mister?" Itachi said in a chastising manner. Naruto shrugged, "I made him happy." "Holy shit. He is bleeding through the cotton already." Jiraiya's body was slumped back in the chair with a face-consuming grin and blood trickling out of cotton that was now as red as the Sharingan. "Which session did you show him?" Itachi asked in the same chastising tone that just projected her with her hands on her hips. Naruto giggled, "Promise to keep a secret?" Itachi nodded. "I showed him the orgy from the night before I left Konoha. That will fry his brain for a while, and it should chase off the depression. I hate seeing and feeling him like that. If the girls ever find out," Itachi said in a warning tone. Naruto climbed onto the bed and cuddled up next to Itachi. "They won't." 8 hours later, Jiraiya was shaken awake by Naruto and his face was stuck in that big goofy grin. The Toad Sanin rubbed his cheeks out since the muscles had seized up, and then he got into serious mode. Katsuyu and Melissa were there at the foot of Itachi's bed, and they were looking at Jiraiya expectantly. They were also scheming on how to extort Jiraiya with the information they had overheard. Jiraiya used the jutsu to summon Tsunade, Shizune, Hinata, Karen and Anko into the room in puffs of smoke. Naruto was glommed onto by everyone except Tsunade and Shizune as they went to check on Itachi's status. 3 hours later, the cries of Naruto's first, healthy baby boy rang around the room as Tsunade and Shizune used a jutsu to clean him off. Once clean, they named the firstborn son of the Uchiha Uzumaki clan, Minaku. The boy had blonde hair with speckles of black in it, and he had crystal blue eyes. Naruto and Itachi wanted to honor their fathers, and they went through hundreds of iterations of the names, and this was what they settled on. Naruto had the honors of cutting the umbilical cord, and the medical professionals in the room set to work. Naruto created a shadow clone that was going to stay with Itachi and Minaku overnight while he took the others to get settled in. Naruto and the unregistered visitors from Konoha joined Koyuki at the villa she had prepared for Orion and Tsuki, Naruto and Itachi's public aliases. It paid to have a daimyo as a friend and lover, and it paid to be the hero of a nation. Everyone spent the first hour exploring the small manor and property. Before long, everyone was gathered at the onsen, and Jiraiya was allowed to join so long as he kept the blindfold on. Naruto said locked it in place with seals, and Jiraiya didn't want to miss out on this opportunity. In addition, Naruto summoned Karyo, who brought Korra along, Ma, Pa, Bunta, Ken and Kichi to join in the celebration of his firstborn son. Bunta brought 3 5-gallon jars of Maya Akusan sake, and the wild night began. "So, Naruto-chan, is this baby boy going to be a toad summoner?" Ma asked, and this question garnered everyone's attention. Naruto downed his saucer and shrugged as Tsunade and Karen cuddled into him and enjoyed the delicious sake vicariously through him. "I don't know. I wish to maintain positive relations with the crows, toads, slugs and eventually snakes once I kill Orochimaru. Would you all be open to a selection process where my future children can each choose a familiar and get to know your honorable clans?" Pa nodded. "That is a wise answer, Naruto boy. I am open to negotiating with them." Korra dipped her head. "That is amenable. The crows are a minor clan in comparison, but with your progeny we can climb to prominence." Katsuyu's fragment nodded as well. "I am open to working with the toads, and I can negotiate with the crows. I will not entertain the snakes until their boss is changed." Anko frowned. "Manda or the white snake sage?" "Manda." Katsuyu, Ma, Pa and Bunta answered simultaneously. "So, Naruto, what's next? What are you two going to do?" Shizune asked while she cuddled into her own clone. "Well, when I raided Danzo's route, I found documents linking him to Kiri and Otto. So, I'm going to Kiri first. Kyofu, do you feel like kicking ass, taking names and fighting for a good cause?" Naruto asked. Tsunade frowned. "Why throw yourself into a war and why bring the pervert?" "I'm in Gaki," Jiraiya said with a grin and blush on his cheeks. Naruto laughed. 1. To honor Zabuza and Haku. 2. I feel some responsibility to do so as the wielder of Kubrokurobocho. 3. It is honestly the right thing to do. 4. Danzo has been using the instability to take refugee children and other bloodline children into his route. My intelligence says Orochimaru is doing the same thing. Finally, I am taking the pervert because Akatsuki will likely be in the area since the Yondaime Mizukage is a Jinchuriki. What about Itachi? Hinata asked. She can call me if she needs me. With my eyes, I learn even faster than before. I will be able to jump to the enhanced beacon soon, which I will give you before I go home. Naruto answered. What's an advanced beacon? Karen asked huskily into his ear. Don't ask either of them why, but when they talk Fuinjutsu together, it turns them both on. Naruto leaned into Karen's lick of his earlobe with his eyes closed. It takes more of my chakra, but it uses it to project a stronger signal and link. When I use the Hiraishin, it is kind of like the Shunshine. You either need to see your destination clearly or be very familiar with where you want to arrive. The enhanced beacon is a bigger tag that lets me sense it easier, unlike the ones on the kunai. Hinata squealed excitedly, so, you will be able to come and visit us soon? I think I can arrange that. Naruto answered with a smile. This statement earned the clones and Naruto gloms by naked women that were particularly gifted in the breast department. Kichi chimed in, Hey! Yo! Naruto! Are you going to summon us toads to fight in the war? Naruto shrugged, if Jiraiya is there, then we can play you off as his summonings. I am ungraceful, but I believe you fight for a good cause. Call on me, my ungraceful partner, Ken said while soaking in a toad oil bath Naruto prepared for the toads. Bunta grunted with his mini pipe, count me in. You crazy summoners always summon me to fight Bijou. It would be nice to fight against Shinobi for once. Jiraiya was drunk by now as his mind was projecting the naked images of the female voices and he was giggling perversely in between hiccups. Bunta, hic. The Mizukage is. Hic, a Jinchuriki, hic. Aw damn it. Bunta pouted. Naruto waved him off, don't worry about him. That will be my job, but I will summon you guys and let you catch some of the glory. And Kyofu, sober up because tomorrow starts our training arc. That night and the next day Naruto tended to his women, and he tended to them well. The pregnant women each got a maternity massage that was followed by fellatio and an incredibly sensual lovemaking. It alleviated their aches, pains and accumulated stress in a refreshing and sensual manner. It brought the others closer to him and gave them the strength to persevere through the BS they would be returning to. 3 months later, outskirts of Kiri's southern island, so, you think they will welcome us with open arms? Naruto asked as he walked towards the suspected location of the rebel encampment. Jiraiya scoffed, doubt it, Gaki. These guys have been at war for 12 years. That has a negative impact on trust. Whatever you do, just keep that mask on and keep your hands off of any girls. I am your chaperone while we are here. Jiraiya ended in a playful tone. Naruto threw his hands up and pouted, oh. Naruto. You can't say no to anyone. A couple days later, Naruto. How dare you have so many women falling for you? You philanderer. Naruto's sarcastic and dramatic voice spread through the mist. Jiraiya laughed boisterously and slapped his hand on Naruto's shoulder. I know you're new to hiding your identity, but you shouldn't say your name anymore, okay, Orion? Naruto, aka Orion, nodded his head, thanks for the tip, Uro Senin. We have incoming. Jiraiya pouted, Orion can't go around calling Jiraiya Kyofu when in disguise, so he chose Uro Senin. Damned Gaki. How many and where from? 12, northeast, 200 meters. Orion answered back as he fixed the mask onto his face. Naruto chose the alias Orion because Orion was a mythological hunter that earned enough glory to have a constellation of stars named after him. He deemed it appropriate since he was hunting down Danzo. Plus, he liked how it fit with Itachi's alias of Tsuki. Orion and Jiraiya stopped and waited for the Kiri shinobi to approach them. Naruto wasn't familiar enough with chakra signatures to know if they were rebels or not. That was until he felt the familiar presence of a Byakugan in one of their chakras. That would mean he is Ao, which is a known associate of the rebels. Halt! State your name and purpose for being in these lands or we will be forced to attack. One of their voices echoed around the mist. Orion pinched Jiraiya's hand to let him speak. I am Orion, and this is Jiraiya. We are here to speak with the rebels, so why don't you come and speak face to face, Ao? Naruto felt the nervous twitch in their chakra, and he felt them getting restless, so he spoke once more. I have a relic that belongs to Kiri, and I wish to offer our services. Ao stepped forward. Why would Jiraiya of the Sanin help the rebels now? Jiraiya answered, my reasons are my own, but my Hokage wants this war to end. She wants to develop an alliance with Kiri. Ao scanned Orion and frowned, why can't I see your chakra network? Orion laughed through his mask, now, wouldn't that be telling? Let's just say I have a good reason to wear this mask, Ao, just as you have a good reason to wear that eye patch. Ao frowned, will you submit yourselves to our custody? No. Orion answered, "We will be treated as proper guests and potential allies, or we will walk away, and you can remain stuck in this endless war." Ao frowned and the Kiri rebels tensed around them. Ao wasn't stupid, he knew that Jiraiya could handle this group alone and the newcomer was an unsettling unknown. At the very least, he couldn't detect any lies in what he was saying. "Very well, you may approach our camp. I will talk with our leader before you will be allowed entry." "Fair," Jiraiya said with his arms crossed. Thus, the rebels took Jiraiya and Orion to a fort that was built with its back to a small cliff. There was a harbor not far away that was teeming with Kiri rebel ships of all makes and sizes. It was a pretty ragtag fleet, but Orion wasn't planning on fighting this out in the water. The walls to the fort were 40 feet high and slick with the condensation that saturated the misty air in Kiri. It didn't seem like a pleasant place to live to Naruto. Ao disappeared into the base and roughly 40 shinobi now surrounded Jiraiya and Orion. When Naruto felt the chakra signature of the leader, he activated the communication seal in his mask that was linked to a seal behind Jiraiya's right ear. "Jiraiya, do not perv out. If you want to bag one of the hottest women in the world, literally and figuratively, then take my advice." Jiraiya glanced at Naruto and gave the slightest nod of his head. "When she comes out, none of the gallant stuff. Just a simple and respectful kiss on the back of her hand. Throw in a sincere and ungaudy compliment." Another nod from the Toad Sanin. Ao stepped through the circle of shinobi with a true bombshell of a woman. She had a curtain on long, auburn hair that covered her right eye and a curly bang. She wore a tight-fitting blue dress that exposed a wondrous rack, size 42E, and her dress had a slit in the leg that exposed a sexy and toned leg that belonged to a strong kunoichi. Her emerald eyes danced and glimmered through the mist as she inspected the two newcomers. She came to a stop 5 feet in front of Jiraiya and Orion. "I am Terumi Mei, commander of the Kiri rebels. State your name and purpose for being here." Jiraiya stepped forward, knelt, took Mei's surprised hand and kissed the back of her knuckles. "The tales of your beauty do not do you proper justice, milady. I am Jiraiya the Toad Sanin." He rose from his knee and returned to Orion's side. "And I am Orion," Orion said simply. Mei's eyes turned to Orion and took notice of the 9 golden stars that decorated the dark blue mask. "Jiraiya, I know of, but you I do not. Where are you from and why have you come?" Orion shrugged, "I do not wish to reveal myself and my history doesn't matter. What matters is that I can guarantee you victory in your just cause." Mei cocked her head in a sexy fashion, "Oh ho? And what makes you so confident?" Orion nodded his head to Jiraiya, "I can keep up with this guy and I have defeated a bijou before." Gears started turning in Mei's head and she smiled a truly magnificent smile. "Well then, allow me to escort you to a more private venue for our talks." Ao startled at that. "Mei-sama. We cannot trust them." "Relax, Ao, they mean us no harm," Mei said while looking over her shoulder at the two newcomers. "You coming? Stay calm, cool and collected and resist her flirtations for the first 2 days. Do that, win this war for her and she is yours." Orion's voice entered straight into Jiraiya's ear through the seal. Jiraiya gave Orion another small nod and offered Mei a smile. "Sure thing, Mei-chan." Once in the bunker, Mei was surprised when Orion pulled a tag from his utility belt and placed it on the door. She relaxed when she realized it was just a privacy barrier. She sat down in her seat, crossed her legs and leaned forward just enough to expose a gracious glimpse of her cleavage. Then, she spoke in a sultry tone. "So, Jiraiya of the Sanin shows up with a mystery partner with Uzumaki red hair. Am I wrong in that last name, Naruto?" Orion chuckled and removed his mask. "I knew I wouldn't be able to fool you when I was with Jiraiya. It is a pretty thin veil, but I need to be known as Orion. So, that is part of my price for assisting you. Fair?" Mei shrugged, which bounced her cleavage. Jiraiya was straining against his natural impulses in an attempt to follow his godson's advice. This woman was truly exquisite, and she would be worth the effort. Jiraiya spoke up, "It is obviously tied in for me too. There is a lot going on in the shadows of Konoha and that is part of the reason we are here." Ao stepped into the conversation. "What do you mean?" Naruto let Jiraiya speak. "There is an old cripple in our village with a penchant for kidnapping children and training them into emotionless and loyal drones." Mei nodded. "So I have heard. The fact that you are working with Naruto can never be revealed until I unmask Orion myself," Naruto said firmly. "Fine," Mei said with another jiggly shrug. "Now, I believe you have something that belongs to Kiri." "Whatever do you mean?" Naruto said in mock innocence before continuing. "I killed Momochi Zabuza, and I formed a contract with Kubakirabocho. I am technically a missing nin and I can be under your employ, but I will not simply hand the sword over." Mei frowned slightly. "You bonded with the blade?" Naruto unsealed the cleaving sword and set it down on the desk. Mei and Ao gasped when they saw the red sheen of the sword and its narrower form. I did. Naruto answered simply. What did you do to it? Ao asked. Naruto looked at him apathetically. Did you know your 7 swords once belonged to the Kyubi no Kitsune? Everyone in the room looked dumbfounded at the reveal. The so-called blacksmith that supposedly made them for you found one of her dens. She is a kenjutsu goddess and she instructed me on how to bond with the blades. After doing so, Kubakirabocho belongs to me. Mei frowned. Well, it has been a relic of Kiri since our founding. This will cause some issues. What if you announce Orion as an honorable member of the 7 swordsmen? I will agree to any challenge that your people put forward. The blade will not abide by someone simply receiving it as a gift, Naruto said firmly. Mei offered a smile. That will do. So, you believe you can win this war for us? Jiraiya nodded. Yup, the Gaki has less than a month to get it done, so he is going to move fast. Ao was incredulous at that. Win this war? The endless war? In a month? Naruto shrugged. Badasses will do badass things. With Jiraiya backing me up, it should be easy enough. How? Mei asked. Well, that's up to you, sweetheart, Jiraiya said and managed to pull off a suave delivery. Mei giggled. What do you mean? Jiraiya shrugged nonchalantly. Can we blow the bases up or do you want to conquer and man them? Do you want a bunch of dead Kiri loyalists, or do we have to fight with kitty gloves on? Mei got serious all of a sudden. You are serious? Both of them nodded. Initially, we cannot spare the loyalists. Once we get to Kiri, I will consider making an offer. Naruto shrugged. If I find someone pure, I'm going to spare them. Other than that, I have no problem killing people that would persecute those for intrinsic traits. Jiraiya frowned a bit. Why don't you let us in on your battle plan and we can take it from there? Kraken Port Fort, southeast port of Kiri's main island, 2 days after joining rebels. Well, this escalated quickly, Naruto said through the communication seal in his mask. He looked around and saw the sun beginning to crest over the watery horizon. Jiraiya raised his wrist and channeled chakra into his seal before speaking into it. You said it, Gaki. How many do you count? I am sensing somewhere between 500 and 600, Orion said while laying flat on a hill north of the port. Jiraiya was on a cliff to the south. You would know better than I do. I can see the entrances they use. I can likely create an opening in the wall by the cliff with an earth jutsu. You distract, I hit from the back? Orion said. Remember, we can use the toads. Just disguise yourself with Tsunade's henjin to me. Konoha will think it is me and the Kiri loyalists won't be able to tell the difference. I have to give up this majestically gallant form? Jiraiya pouted. Isn't Mei worth it? Orion countered. Sigh, yes, she is exquisite. I am at my wit's end in refuting her flirty advances, Jiraiya said. That means it is working. Hold on for the day after we do this. Then, start reciprocating her flirt game. Orion advised. When did the student become the master? Jiraiya pouted. When you shoved every bit of ninjutsu knowledge into the hands of said student. Then, said student accidentally fell for, yeah, you get it. Orion cut himself off before he heard his godfather once more. It didn't pay to pick at scabs. Jiraiya's wry laughter came through the seal. Okay, Gaki, I distract, and you hit from behind? I will go for the commander and let you hog all the glory. Rebels arrive in 2 hours. Orion answered. Give me 15 on the dot to get in position. Jiraiya responded in his serious mode. Moving now. Good luck and have fun, Jiraiya. Orion closed the channel and focused his senses on his task. Naruto crept forward through the natural mist of Kiri, and he strengthened this mist in some places to provide himself better cover. This combined with his cloaking jutsu ensured that he wouldn't be detected as he crossed the barren field that extended 100 meters in front of the fort's walls. He moved slowly and deliberately and got into a position that would allow him a quick entry. He pulled out explosive ceiling tags that had a directional aspect to the explosion and attached 20 of them on the wall in a 10-foot by 10-foot pattern. From 15 minutes after their mark, Naruto felt the ground shaking from the other side of the fort, and he waited until he heard the roar of the wall collapsing. He heard the guards shouting orders and he could sense that 4 guards were still in position while watching this side of the wall. He unsealed Kubakirabocho and put his left hand in a half-ram seal. The explosion that followed sent a massive, V-shaped geyser of explosive flame and rock from the wall flying into the fort. In hindsight, 20-shaped charges power with Kurama's chakra may have been overkill. Naruto formed his shadow clones outside of the wall and each one of them wielded a chakra imitation of the well-known cleaving sword. Naruto dashed through the new hole in the wall followed by 10 of his shadow clones and 4 of the clones immediately branched off to deal with the guards on the wall. Naruto and the remaining 6 dashed towards where Naruto could feel a gathering of the strongest chakra signatures. Looking back on this day, Naruto regretted how many souls his swords claimed, but he took solace in the fact that he spared women, children and the junior shinobi. The young shinobi one Kiri with quaking legs would slump over after a Raten-loaded chakra palm sent electricity coursing through their bodies. The women and children were completely spared Naruto's wrath as he darted past houses that were just beginning to stir as the alarms around the base blared their warning sirens. Naruto and his clones ignored most of the chaos as they moved towards the central building that stood 2 stories over the rest. He could feel the chakra signatures in there and they were what he came for. Without the head, the snake's body can only flail around. With the aid of his new Sharingan eyes, Naruto saw the fights faster and clearer than ever before. He cut through several Chunin-ranked Kiri ninja before he was able to arrive at the tower. He hid himself and saw shinobi pouring in and out almost unchecked. He created 4 clones that transformed into the squad of Chunin he just killed, and the clones ran into the tower. Inside the command tower of Fort Kraken was complete chaos. The commanders were getting inconsistent reports from shinobi on the walls, and there were reports that all described a similar figure in a blue mask with stars doing this. Messi, the commanding officer, looked up as a squad of 4 Chunin skid to a halt outside his room. "Report," Messi shouted. I think my captain's dead. Are you the commanding officer?" one of them asked. "Yes, and who was your captain?" Messi said enraged. The 4 walked into the room and glowed a brilliant blue before Messi and his command staff were blown up by a powerful chakra explosion. The outer walls of the building attempted to contain the explosion that originated on the 3rd floor, but they ultimately failed. A brilliant blue chakra explosion lit up the early morning sky as the command tower was left in ruins. Naruto took a deep breath before he formed 50 clones to assist him in the cleanup. It was a massacre. Naruto and Jiraiya slinked out of the fort and left it in a state of complete ruin only 35 minutes after they had engaged. They met up at their rendezvous point and gave their report to the rebel scout. The rebel scout dashed back towards where the main force was staged, and Jiraiya waited shoulder to shoulder with Naruto as the chaos played out. "How are you holding up, Gaki?" Jiraiya asked cautiously as his eyes reflected some of the fires that were burning from within the walls of the fort. Naruto shrugged, "I spared as many as I could. Hopefully the rebels don't go killing a bunch of kids. I left most of the Genin I came across unconscious." Jiraiya nodded in understanding. "That is how you retain your sanity and humanity in this line of work. Draw a hard line in the sand and do everything you can to honor it. It won't always work out, but it definitely helps." Naruto watched the activity of the Kiri loyalist as the scramble to put up some kind of barrier in place of the front gate that he had destroyed. "You know what I don't get about all of this?" "What's that?" Jiraiya asked, Naruto's contemplative tone ripping his attention away from the burning fort. "Why do people go along with it? How is it that evil me gain power so easily? Why do people follow them so readily? Why don't people just say enough is enough?" Naruto asked his series of questions. Jiraiya thought of it for a minute before responding. "They have said enough was enough. That is how the rebel forces started. That being said, most people aren't like us. Most people are happy to live their lives worrying about their own skins. We call the people that extend that selfishness to family good. However, when it comes to the big picture, most people are either powerless, too scared or too apathetic to do what they know is right in their hearts." Naruto scoffed at that pitiable truth before whispering under his breath, "All it takes for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing." Jiraiya nodded proudly, "That's right on the money, Brad. I told you about the prophecy. I told you about my previous 2 students. What I don't know is whether it is talking about you or Nagato. I used to think with 100% certainty that it was you, but then Itachi confirmed that Pain, or I believe Nagato, is alive. Now I don't know." Naruto shrugged once more while he kept his arms crossed. "What if we are just the 2 sides of some prophetic coin? We are both students of the Toad Sage, after all." Jiraiya nodded in contemplation. His thoughts were disrupted as 300 rebel shinobi stormed the remains of Fort Kraken. They wouldn't receive much of a fight, and the 2 newcomers could only hope that Mei's men were more disciplined than the Kiri loyalists. It didn't even take a full hour for somebody to retrieve the 2, and they went and joined Mei in a temporary command center. As Naruto walked, he saw the carnage, but he was pleased to still feel the younger chakra signatures alive. He also didn't see men wasting time with looting or raping, which gave him a small sense of peace. "Thank you for your assistance, Jiraiya and Orion. You made this far easier than it otherwise would have been," Mei said. Jiraiya waved her off after a reminder from Orion to play it nonchalant and keep her at an arm's reach for the remainder of the day. "No problem, Mei-chan. It is good to see that your forces are more disciplined than I expected." Orion nodded, I would have walked away if there were needless slaughter or rape. Feel free to tell you men that, should they give in to those baser instincts, that I will sever their heads from their necks before taking my leave from the rebellion. May offered an understanding smile and nodded, very well, that is reasonable. What's next? Jiraiya asked confidently. Think you two could take out 2 more forts by tomorrow night? They shouldn't be port towns, but just the neighboring fortresses that house the patrols. May asked. Aim us and pull the trigger, sweetheart, Jiraiya said with a toothy smile. And so, 24 days of non-stop fighting and war led to a siege on Kirigakure. One thing of note, Jiraiya was fighting the wielder of the explosive sword, Shibuki, wielded by Jinin Akibito. He suffered a severe injury, and his right arm was nearly blown off. Naruto flashed into GKM and had Jiraiya bite him. He may have contributed too much chakra, because now Jiraiya looked to be in his late 30s. A fact that he was constantly thanking the comatose Naruto profusely for. It took Naruto 2 days to recover from that level of chakra shock, and he thought he was dreaming when he saw Jiraiya's younger form. On the second day of the siege, Orion ran into the command tent in a panic. Jiraiya, May and Ao were reviewing battle plans and they all looked up to Orion. Report, May said firmly. Orion sighed, Yagura is gone. I felt a powerful and ominous chakra signature show up out of nowhere. He was with Yagura for a couple minutes and then they vanished without a trace. I can no longer sense the Sanbi's chakra, and I can feel the panic of the loyalists. May actually smiled at this. She had more than enough blood and death for a lifetime. Naruto noticed the intimate hand on her shoulder from Jiraiya and he couldn't fight back the smile. For the first time in a long time, someone other than himself had been graced with the real Jiraiya. Under that perverted mask there was a genuinely amazing man. Alas, all shinobi wear masks of some sort to deal with the regrets of the past, haunting memories of yesteryear and the fear of tomorrow. The resolution of the Kiri War by the unconditional surrender of the loyalists came on the 4th day of the siege after only a few skirmishes. The haunted whispers of Orion and Jiraiya ripped throughout Kirigakure and destroyed morale. On the 4th day, 26 days after Naruto entered the fight on the side of the rebels, he was able to leave just in time and Jiraiya actually used Tsunade's perfect henge to take Naruto's form for the celebrations. Naruto didn't care about the fame, he was pushing it close enough to the edge already. If he missed the births of his children, he would suffer a fate far worse than death. With a red flash, he left Kiri in Jiraiya's hands. Birthdays, Naruto arrived in the room that used to be his study. The sealed beacon was embedded under the rug of the office and Naruto arrived in a slightly dizzy state. Just because he knew how to use the Hiraishin didn't mean that he was accustomed to its effects. He heard a movie playing in the living room and he felt that his girls were cuddled together in misery on the couch. He should have known better than to prank a bunk of pregnant women, but he didn't. Naruto walked down the steps in a whisper while suppressing his chakra with the cloaking jutsu. Normally, Karen would be able to sense this, but she was distracted and her chakra was in flux due to the new life budding inside here. Naruto snuck up to right behind the couch, leaned down on it and undid the cloaking. So, what are y'all watching? He asked calmly. The girls all jumped in surprise and Hinata jumped in front of the pregnant women in a defensive position. The surprise turned to anger and then happiness when they saw Naruto holding his hands up in surrender and grinning at them with that big, goofy grin. He was glommed onto by 5 beautiful women, 4 of whom were 9 months pregnant. The hug felt slightly more claustrophobic than normal. When they broke apart, Tsunade slammed a fist atop Naruto's noggin and left a good old welt there. Damn it, brat. Don't scare us like that. Tsunade growled before her expression softened. So, I take it that it is over? Naruto nodded, yup. You should be hearing of Orion any day now, Naruto said while holding up the mask for the girls to see. Anything to report? She asked in serious mode to get it out of the way. Other than winning? Well, I kinda made Jiraiya de age on accident, Naruto said before adding. Oh. And he is over you, Hokage-chan. I helped him bag the new Mizukage, or I think she will be the new Mizukage. Who is that, Ruto? Shizune asked while supporting her belly with her hands. Cherumi Mei, pretty redhead with a small trace of Uzumaki in her. She has the lava and boil release Kekai Genkei. Naruto answer. Wait. So, Jiraiya finally has a girlfriend? Tsunade asked incredulously. Yup, after over 40 years of pining over you, he has finally moved on, thanks to yours truly, Naruto said with a cheeky grin. Oh, thank Kami, Tsunade said. So, who is due to pop first? Naruto asked the group. Hinata stepped forward as the only medic who wasn't pregnant. Well, we are all coming up on exactly 9 months. Tsunade wants to be induced. She scheduled a couple days off for herself this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Naruto nodded. I don't know when that is, tee-hee. I haven't looked at a calendar in almost a month. The battle maps and fort positions took over my mind. It is Wednesday night, Ruto, Karen said with a wry look on her face. Naruto shrugged. Cool, so, who wants cuddle time? Ah. Foxy-sama, we need to know, make anyone from Kiri fall in love with you? Anko said in a teasing manner. Naruto laughed at that and crossed his arms proudly in front of his chest. Nope, I was a good boy. Mei Terumi tried, but I got her hooked on Jiraiya. How did you manage that? Tsunade asked with an eyebrow raised. Coached him with communication seals, Naruto said with a smile spreading on his face. No way, Shizune shouted. Anko was laughing in a ridiculous fashion. Oh, that's rich. Tsunade was laughing so hard she couldn't breathe, and she nearly went into labor on the spot. She just kept laughing and pointing at Naruto and laughing even harder. Naruto spent the following week tucked into the Namikaze compound. He thought it was funny that the girls chose to live there rather than the old Senju compound. The 4 days weren't exactly relaxing for Naruto because he had to assist Hinata in delivery 4 of his children. He was probably the only day ever to do it, but he was born with a talent for medicine. He just lets people bite him and it is all good. Better than good, even. Tsunade was the first to pop because she was induced that Thursday night, followed by Karen, Shizune and finally Anko. Anko was mad that she was the last to pop and she was super concerned about the health of her baby with the curse seal still on her neck. Speaking of that, Naruto had developed a method to remove it, but it was deemed too dangerous to do while she was pregnant. Before Naruto returned to Spring Country, he would be sure to remove it. Back to the babies, a blonde-haired blue-eyed baby girl named Tsuya was birthed and named by Tsunade. A red-headed, violet-eyed baby boy named Irasher, in honor of Kushina's father and the last Uzukage, came from Karen. On that Saturday, Shizune gave birth to little Dan, and he was the first brunette of the bunch. He had a light brown, almost golden hair that was beautiful to look at. Anko gave birth to a light red, almost pinkish, haired baby girl and she named her Kushina in honor of Naruto's mother. It was a beautiful family and Naruto couldn't be any happier. Naruto and his clones ran around all weekend tending to his fiancées and the children. He was so overjoyed by the children that he took all diaper duty onto himself. He also let each of his wives bite him twice a day to get a jump on their healing process because it had the added effect of stabilizing their chakra networks and restoring the flow. That Sunday night, Naruto bid farewell to his loves and children to return to Itachi. He left 5 overloaded shadow clones behind with stabilizing seals to help for as long as they could. He had discovered some things during his time in Kirigakure that needed looking into. The plan for the children was for Karen to remain behind with them. Of the 5, it would be the easiest to justify her absence since Karen had opted for more of the scientific side of medicine. She was running tests on Naruto's blood as well as her own to see if she could identify what was enabling the healing factor. The amount of possible medical breakthroughs made it more than worth justifying it to the Konoha Council. When he flashed to the seal he left in his estate in Spring Country, he walked out into the chilly air on the porch. Itachi was sitting in the garden and nursing Minaku. He gave her one of his wonderful and sincere smiles that always melted her heart. She, in turn, gave him one of those soft and genuine smiles of contentedness. He leaned over the nursing baby and placed a loving kiss on her lips. Did everything go okay? She asked softly so as not to disturb the baby boy. Naruto beamed a smile. Perfect. 4 happy and healthy children and 4 happy women. You spoiled them rotten, didn't you? Itachi asked with a knowing and teasing smile. Naruto nodded. Damn straight. First time I saw them in 4 months. I feel so blessed to have you all, but this is when it gets scary, and our timer starts now. Itachi nodded at that. I am ready to begin training again. Orion needs his partner back, after all. Did you decide on a nanny yet? Naruto asked cautiously. Itachi smiled. I did. Koyuki recommended her personally and she can be here to meet you tomorrow. I know you will want to sense her out. Naruto placed another kiss on her lips and pulled Minaku into his arms. Thank you for him, he said while looking into the cerulean blue eyes of his baby boy. You are more than welcome. So, where are we off to next? Itachi asked. First, we train, and I remove Anko's new seal. Then, we shut stuff down in Demon Country. I heard about the Demon Morio and we can go offer our services to the priestess. Then, in Kiri I found a couple root working for the former Mizukage. Jiraiya is looking into it on his end, too. I found evidence of slave trafficking and the ships went to Hot Springs Country. I thought that we could turn it into a vacation/mission combination. He suggested while rocking Minaku softly. Sounds like a plan, but when is my wedding? Itachi said playfully. Naruto chuckled, Koyuki will marry us in a small ceremony then before we go to Demon Country. The big wedding won't be until we walk back into Konoha and kick the doors down. Itachi giggled, okay, Ruto. I love you. Jiraiya's reflections, war is an ugly thing and good rarely ever come from it. That talk I had with Naruto outside of Fort Kraken stuck with me for the rest of my life. In defense of their families, men took up arms. When the interest of families clashed, men fought. When that became too chaotic, men joined together and formed ever-growing villages that fought against other villages. The inspiration for war, the ultimate goal being to find peace, is oxymoronic in and of itself. It is the perfect example of the folly of mankind. You may be asking yourselves if we really won a war in under a month. The answer is, yes, we did. Both sides were so worn down from the endless fighting that it was a bit too easy for two shinobi such as me and the Gaki. They were so stuck in their paradigm of warfare, that when a new variant emerged, they were unable to adapt. I am grateful, in hindsight, that the Akatsuki got to Yagura before we did. It saved hundreds if not thousands of lives. A note on the family of my Gaki. They were truly beautiful, but I didn't see them for almost a year. Shortly after the war, I got stuck in a honeymoon phase with Mei and I stuck around to help her rebuild and root out the remains of the loyalists. Tsunade named me the ambassador to Kiri, and I got mighty used to living the misty life. So long as I had my red-headed queen, I didn't care. Thank you, Gaki. Unknown cave, unknown location. 7 days after fall of Kiri, the Akatsuki, as an organization, had a plan and they wanted to stick to the plan. To have Jiraiya of the Sanin and someone named Jiraiya ruin that for them was frustrating. They were having a group meeting to decide what to do with Yagura. Well, we need a 10th member. Kisame conceded, thinking that it would be very awkward to work with the same cage that he defected from. He would be your partner, Kisame? Will you be able to work with him? Pain asked since Kisame was one of the original members and he trusted him, at least a bit more than the others. Is the mind control reliable? Kisame asked. The orange-masked member of the Akatsuki stepped forward. I can reprogram it and we can give it a test run. We cannot afford to seal the bijou yet. We are still too far ahead of schedule. It's perfect for Sharky, on. Sharky gets a water user and can feed his sword the Sanbi's chakra, Deidara offered. Kisame held a brief conversation with Seimata and nodded, if, and mind you this is an if, but if he doesn't attack me, then it would make a good pair. Only problem would be that he is a little too recognizable. HN. We are walking around in black cloaks with red clouds, and we all wear straw hats. How much more recognizable can you get? Sasori grunted in a gravelly tone. Toby started cackling and clapping loudly. Toby likes the idea. Toby thinks that Yagura will be a good boy. Pain did his best to maintain his composure. He turned his attention to Zetsu. Zetsu, what can you tell us about Jiraiya and the mystery Orion? Zetsu frowned. You know it is hard for me to get my spores and clones to Kiri. I don't have much, I just know that they are credited for helping to end the war. Madara, the man in the orange mask, spoke. He alerted me of the rapid shift in the war and the impending siege. That was why I withdrew Yagura. He wouldn't stand a chance against Jiraiya alone, much less this newcomer. Can we recruit him? Konan asked. We don't know where to find him and this was his first feat of note. Let's not waste energy. What of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki? Pain asked. Nothing. Konoha has no leads and there has been no news on that front. I sent clones to Spring Country, but they are going through their winter cycle and my clones hate it there. Zetsu informed the group. Why waste time in spring? What about Wave or even Uzushio if he is a true Uzumaki? Kakuzu said gruffly as he was putting his bounty hunter mind to work. Spring is where his last mission took him, and he made a movie with the actress. Uzu is still inaccessible. I can't even teleport in there. That damned final resort seal is still active. Wave? Zetsu, you have clones there, right? Madara spoke more than usual because he was extremely frustrated that the lost the Jinchuriki. Black Zetsu spoke. Spring Country is just recovering from Dodo. No whispers there to report. Uzu may be a possibility, but only Leader Sama is an Uzumaki, and he can't go. It is unlikely that the Jinchuriki would know how to defuse those seals. Wave Village has a number of clones, but it is a small island country and only Hatake Kakashi goes there regularly from Konoha. Continue the search, Pain said monotonously. That is all for this meeting. Kisame, come to Ame and go through some training with Yagura under our supervision. Konoha Council, 1 month after fall of Kiri, 10 months since Naruto left, Tsunade was fretting over paperwork. Being a newborn's mother and living in a house with 4 newborns was stressful, and it had distracted her from the cursed sheets of paper. Also, losing Karen to help with the office duties hurt as well. Karen was a natural mother, and she could easily provide enough milk for each of the babies during the day. That being said, Tsunade missed her presence in the office. It all resulted in more paperwork, and now it was time for another damnable council meeting. She created 5 clones and bribed them. If you guys finish this paperwork properly by the end of the council meeting, I will keep you around for drinks, Tsunade said to, well, herself. One of the clones looked up. Could you just call Ruto over instead? I would like that better. The other clones moaned at the thought. That's what we want. Tsunade scoffed. You lot know he just left after removing Anko's seal. He can't come back now. Settle with drinks. Maybe you could summon us next time he is around? Maybe I will be the same, or who knows. It was worth a shot. The middle clone said as it sat behind the desk and began the paperwork. Shizune simply watched the spectacle with an amused smile on her face. She couldn't help but agree. Naruto had lived up to the bargain that he made, and he had been visiting as much as he could. It helped to alleviate the stress of the newborns, and he applied seals that made everything easier for them. Silencing seals on the baby's room. Baby monitors linked to seals that notified them when the babies were crying. Cooled storage seals for the breast milk. Shizune smiled because she knew that Naruto was doing everything that he could for them. You read now, Tsunade-sama? Shizune asked with a cheeky grin. Tsunade groaned. What's this meeting about again? The Kiri War and the results of Danzo's trial. Warning, you won't like the outcome, Shizune said as she walked to the council chambers. With the council meeting started, she walked in to see Danzo standing in the witness portion of the council chambers. She growled as she walked past him, and she took her seat. She called the meeting to order and decided to get Danzo's portion over with. Shimura Danzo, after investigation by the Fire Lord, you are exonerated of your crimes. However, I will not reinstate your position on this council. Your freedom will have to be enough. Do you have anything relevant to add for this council's consideration? She ground out and took the slightest bit of satisfaction from the angered look on his face. Danzo looked around at the people that were still under his control. Hyashi, Koharu, Homura, Otaru, and Navina. The control is fading, but they should still be in his court, and once he has a new Sharingan implanted, one of the few that survived the bombing, he would be able to use the Genjutsu. He looked back defiantly at Tsunade. I was exonerated. I see no reason to lose my seat on this council, he said placidly. The elder advisors are an honorary position granted by the Hokage for the express purpose of advising the Hokage. I do not trust you, and I care not about your so-called trial. The fact remains that you had a stolen Sharingan. The fact remains that I found 5 of your root dead outside the Senju compound. The fact remains that you had an underground and separate organization running in Konoha that was ordered disbanded years ago. I don't trust you and don't require your advice. Push this issue no further, Tsunade said firmly, but calmly. Fine, Danzo said aloud. He didn't need this position anyway. The control he had over Koharu and Homura was absolute. He would focus on his route, and he wouldn't play nice anymore. Moving on, we have a report from Kiri, sent by Jiraiya. I will notify this council that Jiraiya of the Sanin accepted an's rank mission from me. The Kiri civil war is over, and the side Jiraiya supported won. The rebels also had the assistance of a new mercenary named Orion. Between the two of them, they ended the war in 26 days. Jiraiya is formulating an alliance treaty with Mei Terumi, the god-ime Mizukage. Danzo, from his witness position, growled. Kiri was a goldmine for personnel and lost orphans. He had done so much to extend that war, and now this Senju bitch ruined it. He would have to meet with Orochimaru. He would have to recalculate. What could he offer the Sanin? Shikaku stood. Why did you make Jiraiya get involved? Tsunade nodded. We received a request from Kiri rebels and were promised an alliance. Seems like I made the right call. Why was this council not consulted or informed sooner? Koharu said rudely. Tsunade scoffed and pointed a finger at her chest. Hokage. She then pointed at Koharu, advisor. She then turned to the council and continued, this is a good opportunity to remind you. You are my advisory council and I entrust you with tasks. If I make a risky decision, then I will account for it. Now, what should we aim for in this treaty with Kiri? Sume stood up. Before we get to that, what information did Jiraiya send on this Orion? What village is he from? Tsunade shrugged. He said he worked with Orion and estimated him at elite Jonin to low Kage overall. He evidently ran into Naruto at some point and won a duel where he won the legendary cleaving sword, Kubakirabocho, for them. Kiri has appointed him as an honorary member of the Seven Swordsmen. Before you ask, no, he didn't know where Naruto was going, and he said he ran into him in Hot Springs Country. I dispatched a tracking team already. Tsunade wanted to laugh inside at the misdirection. So, he bested Naruto? Hiashi asked. Then we should bring him to Konoha as an added defense against Naruto. Do we know his whereabouts? No. Tsunade answered plainly. He told Jiraiya that he was going to wander. All shinobi teams will be on the lookout for a man with spiky red hair and a blue mask with 9 stars on it. Any other known skills? Inoiki asked. Kenjutsu, water clones, high water proficiency and a propensity for infiltration and high-grade explosives. You know how Jiraiya's reports are when he is distracted, Tsunade said flippantly. Now, treaty terms. I will hear your advice, but there is one thing you should know. Kiri requested Jiraiya as their ambassador, and he started an official relationship with the Mizukage. He said if we don't approve and add it in then he will just retire. He also requested somebody to take over his spy network. Troublesome. Muttered Shikaku. Shibiabarame stood up. I volunteer my son Shino. He is highly attuned to subterfuge. Tsunade nodded. Next time Jiraiya sends a toad, I will put that forward. We should work the treaty to our advantage. Kiri has good ports and good fish. We can offer lumber in return for those products, Homura said. That's the first reasonable thing you have said since I returned. Shikaku, you are in charge of writing up our initial request. I want it on my desk by the end of the week, Tsunade said with finality. Rookie meeting, same time as council meeting, Ino sighed as she played with the straw in her drink. She was normally the life of the party and she had genuinely enjoyed playing that role for most of her life. However, that wasn't her role after graduation. It was Naruto that brought everyone together and made everyone brighter. When he was around. Without him around, these meetings became dull and much quieter. Ino decided to break the silence. So, Hinata, where has Karen been? She used to always be with you. Hinata shrugged. She is still working for Tsunade, but she is working on a special project. More of a lab-based project, and Tsunade set the lab up in the compound for her to work out of. Shikamaru sighed. That actually doesn't sound so troublesome. Kuji scooped a piece of meat and shoveled it into his mouth while he spoke. I think that's the first time I have ever heard you say that. This earned a small chuckle from the group. Neji looked around the table. Anyone have anything new to share? Ino stirred her straw. Sasuke's locked up in his compound and his 1-year detention will end soon. I still can't believe he got off so easy for killing Sakura. This brought the group down. Just the mention of Sasuke's name made most of them scowl. Keep him away from me. I will rip him apart if he steps to me. Kiba growled. Shino nodded. Neither I nor my hive will ever trust him again. Daddy said they are keeping him in case Naruto comes back. Ino added, which made everyone glance nervously at Hinata, who had put her silverware down and was visibly trying to control her anger. If Naruto-kun ever comes back, he will roll over Sasuke just like he did every other time. That egotistical, power-hungry prick will never do anything good for this village or its people, Hinata said lowly. Sorry, Ino said meekly. Tenten put a hand on Ino's shoulder. Calm down Hinata, it is not our fault Naruto ran off and left you behind to be with a missing nin. Now Hinata was truly enraged. Is that what you were told? Hinata's Byakugan activated and she was glaring the whole group down. Tenten nodded just as meekly as Ino. Then you were a fool for believing it. I knew about Itachi from the day he saved me. I think I am done here. Hinata stood up and left the rookie group. Neji sighed. She is not taking his loss well. She is still living in his compound. Lee's brows were furrowed, and he looked confused. Naruto's unyouthful actions don't make sense. He went from fighting for the village to leaving it because of one council vote. Ino scoffed, if you think it was just one council vote, you are dumber than you look. Remember what he said to Neji in the finals? Daddy said it was all true and it was far worse than he made it seem. Shikamaru nodded. I still remember when he returned to class after the so-called demon massacre. That report said that he had to fight against 10 Chunin-level shinobi and then he was on death's door from a mob of 150 civilians. When I asked my dad about it, he said the civilian council set that one up and kept all the clan heads and sandaime in a pointless meeting. Him leaving makes perfect sense to me and I don't consider it unyouthful. Neji frowned but nodded. That council meeting was a setup and Naruto knew it would happen. He was always crafty, and it seems like he had just had enough. Anyone heard anything on him at all? Nope, Kiba said bluntly. Mom was tasked with finding him, but she says it is just a pointless waste of time now. I wish we could talk to him again, Ino said softly. Time skip, 2 years, Hokage's office, Thursday afternoon. Tsunade was reviewing documents in her office and thinking over the last 2 years. The compound was much livelier with the little tykes running around, and it was about time for them to be revealed. Tsunade was the only one that went back for a round 2 with Naruto. She really didn't know how his regenerative abilities would affect her ability to bear children, so she went pretty much back to back with him. Her son, Noaki, was born 14 months ago, and he was already starting to run around with the other children. She had a plan for revealing them, but it was a risky maneuver for her to bring them out into the public. Especially since all of the children bore so many aspects of their father in them already. If it were just one, then it wouldn't be that much of a problem. However, there were now 6 children at the compound running Karen ragged. A year ago, Itachi and Naruto asked for Minaku to stay with the children so that he could grow up knowing his siblings. That particular child bore more of his mother's personality and was definitely the calmest of the bunch. Revealing all 6 children would mean that Danzo needs to go. Tsunade would never trust the cripple to keep his slimy hands off her children. Naruto and Itachi were closing in on him, and it seems like it all circled back to Orochimaru, or more precisely, Orochimaru's apprentice. Once the blackmail is located, and it is most definitely out there out of Danzo's own hands, then they will be able to move directly on Danzo. The restless children will just have to settle on waiting for their father to take them out on field trips. Naruto's use of the Hiraishin had grown far more precise, and he was able to perform it almost effortlessly at this point. Thinking of the children provided Tsunade her motivation. If someone told her 3 years ago that she would have 2 children, she would have laughed them out of the bar. If they added that it would have been with someone under the age of 20, she would have given them the beatdown express out of the bar. Now, however, she couldn't imagine her life without Naruto. It made the paperwork more tolerable, and it gave her something to protect and go home to every night. Shizune had sank into her role as her secretary, and Tsunade had never seen her happier. The mousy and slightly tousle-haired brunette was gone, and it was replaced with a confident mother and a beautiful woman. She had changed her hairstyle into a shoulder-length bob cut, and she was absolutely stunning. Motherhood suited her so well, and she would alternate days with Karen to give her a break and get more time with the children. And to think, Tsunade went to bed and slept in the same bed as Shizune on most nights. It is funny how life works out that way. Karen had been working on the project with her and Naruto's blood, and it had some amazing implications. The medical team was able to develop a pill that was added to each elite Konoha shinobi's medical pouch. The reason it was limited to the elites was simple: it required Naruto's blood and they could only take so much of it. Other than work, the Uzumaki was given the swirl seal by Naruto, and she spent a lot of time within the Uzumaki vault studying her clan history and getting herself up to snuff on sealing. She was going to teach all the children about the Uzumaki clan when they turned 3, and she wanted to be ready. Life was good for Anko Uzumaki, only Mitarashi in public nowadays. She was free once more from her cursed seal, and Tsunade kept her away from the control of the council as a full jonin. She was on a team with Yugao Yuzuki, who was no longer in Anbu, and Shiranui Genma. Their 3-man team was tasked with pissing Orochimaru off, or more precisely, locating and destroying his laboratories. When Naruto linked Danzo to Orochimaru, Tsunade made this team for that express purpose. When Anko was home, she and her snakes played with the children. Melissa had already claimed little Kushina as her summoner due to her attraction to Naruto. Weird, obviously, but so are most things concerning Anko and her snakes. Hinata Uzumaki, legally married by Tsunade and Kenji to Naruto, was doing well. She was a medical prodigy approaching Shizune's level, and her taijutsu was beyond scary. The Juken with Tsunade's chakra burst techniques was, well, it was just as monstrous as Tsunade's super strength. One palm from Hinata could liquidize every organ in the abdomen. A hit to the upper torso was death, and each strike to an extremity would shred muscle with no real issue. Tsunade's dream of getting a Hyuga medic was accomplished, and she couldn't be prouder of the previously shy Hyuga. Hinata was getting restless though. She wanted Naruto back, she wanted the Hyuga clan to leave her the hell alone, and she wanted a baby, for Kami's sake. Being around all the children made Hinata so baby-crazed that she had tried on multiple occasions to make Naruto remove the anti-pregnancy seal. It was a source of laughter and entertainment for the girls, but they each understood where she was coming from, despite agreeing with Naruto's point of view on the subject. Kami, Tsunade was grateful for her crazy and unorthodox family. It made the paperwork so much more bearable, and it made the drinks of sake at night that much sweeter. Tsunade felt a vibration in her right wrist, and she tapped the vibrating seal. She then smiled as a message came in from Naruto: "Miss you, Hokage-chan. We finished in Land of Honey. Home tonight. Love you." Tsunade couldn't stop the goofy grin that appeared on her face. She loved that man. Kakashi, Sasuke and Sai walked into Tsunade's office to see her smiling broadly. It creeped each of them out for various reasons, but they were here to give their report on a recent mission. Sasuke had played the good boy and he was biding his time. He was going to kill Naruto and Itachi no matter what it took. He didn't know how, he didn't know when, he just knew that he was going to. The past 3 years had been one humiliation after another. It was high time that he was able to get his revenge. Kakashi was regretting accepting this mission assignment. Sasuke was just as bad as when he was on Team 7, except now Kakashi wasn't as emotionally compromised. He had maintained his relationship with Tsunami, and she was expecting their first child in 6 months. He just needed to grit his teeth and bear the revenge-driven emo and emotionally compromised drone. 6 more months. Team 7 reporting in from B-rank mission, Hokage-sama, Kakashi said in his usual bored tone while pulling out Icha Icha, Forbidden Love Volume 2. He really wanted to reread the amazing erotic romance before the 3rd book in the series came out next week. Man, Jiraiya-sama has been cranking these things out. I wonder if he is still in touch with Naruto? Thought Kakashi while waiting for the Hokage's dismissal. Suddenly, the door to the room flew open and a Chunin messenger came in and spoke out of breath. Hokage-sama, urgent scroll from Suna's fastest falcon. Tsunade held out her hand with a serious look on her face. Give it here, she said forcefully before she snatched the scroll and began reading. Suna attacked by 2 members of Akatsuki identified as Sasori of the Red Sands and Deidara the Mad Bomber of Iwa. Kazekage abducted at 11:52 p.m. on Wednesday evening. Kankuro poisoned by unknown poison. Requesting retrieval team and medical support. Tsunade snapped her eyes up and observed the team. Should she really send them if she were going to send Naruto and Itachi there? What the hell, those 2 can handle themselves. Team Kakashi, you are assigned an rank mission to Tsunaga Corps. The Kazekage was abducted by Akatsuki. You are to make your best time there and provide assistance in the retrieval of the Kazekage. I will send you a backup team. Take my apprentice, Hinata, as your medic. Kakashi's eye widened, and he quickly looked at the 2 beside him. Sure, they were strong, but they weren't rank. Are you sure, Hokage-sama? Sasuke clicked his teeth. We can do this, Kakashi. It will be a good chance to test my strength. Tsunade looked skeptically at the Uchiha brat. How did that one come from Mikoto again? Sigh, oh well. Yes, Kakashi, I am sure. You are one of my strongest jonin, my apprentice is one of the best medics in Konoha and these 2 aren't bad. She added that last part just to take a jab at Sasuke. I will send Hinata to the front gates, now pack up and go. I will send a falcon to Team Guy to back you up. They are out near river country right now. As Team Kakashi left, Tsunade rotated the whirlpool until the kanji for Hinata's name was in the center and she pulsed chakra into the seal. She felt the vibration that indicated Hinata was receiving and sent the message. 5 minutes later, Hinata reported in with her hospital scrub still on. Tsunade relayed the mission to her and told her that she would be informing Naruto, which put a big old smile on Hinata's face. Land of Honey, Thursday afternoon. Naruto and Itachi were engaging in their post-mission ritual of lovemaking when Naruto was interrupted by his message seal. Itachi sighed in irritation as Naruto stopped just as things were starting to get good. She sat up as the look on Naruto's face hardened and she sighed because she knew they weren't going to be able to pick up where they left off. This was such a beautiful and peaceful lake to make love by too. What is it, Rudo-kun? Itachi asked softly, linking her arms around his shoulders and pushing her assets into his back. Naruto sighed as the message and silent conversation was complete. Message from Hokage-chan. Your old organization is on the move, and they got Gaara. Itachi frowned. Well, are we going as Orion and Suki or is it time for the reveal? Naruto smirked. I think we can hit them with the reveal. I am not going to show everything though. I am keeping the real surprise for Pain and that Madara imposter. Itachi nodded with a sad smile on her face. I hope Konan is okay. She hasn't responded to any of the crows I sent recently. That's not good. Do you think Pain found out? Naruto asked with trepidation in his heart. He had met and recruited Konan to their side 1.5 years ago. She was the inside woman and all she wanted Naruto to do was stop Nagato and heal him, which lined up with what Naruto wanted to do. No matter how far gone he was still family. Naruto could feel Itachi's worry for her friend. When she spoke, she hid her emotions well. I don't know. I hope not. Do you have a beacon in Suna? Nope, but I think it's about time I check in on Tamari-chan, Naruto said with a smile. She is going to be mad at you, Rudo, Itachi said. When she finds out about the communication seals and your Hiraishin, she won't buy the excuses anymore. Naruto sighed. We have been running from one country to another doing our best, okay? I mean, come on. Morio, that crazy meteorite shit in Hoshi, the fricking land of sky attacking spring. I mean, come on. I deserve a little credit and a lot of slack. Itachi giggled and kissed his neck before licking his earlobe. I give you plenty of credit, Ruto-kun. And so does Koyuki for that matter. When are her twins due? 3 months. They are going to be Libras. Naruto answered. Ooh, September twins. That will be fun. Does the Spring Council know it is you or do they think it is Orion? Itachi asked animatedly as they put their clothes back on. They know it is me. She screened them recently and knows they can be trusted. Naruto answered as he looked around for his slick vest. Itachi handed it to him with a knowing smile on her face. Heard anything from the Kumo girls? She continued the questioning as they began jumping through the trees at high speed. Not since we left. Why are you asking anyway? I thought I was forbidden from adding any more to the family. No particular reason. Kurama answered while giggling. What she said, Itachi laughed while saying it. Naruto had given Itachi some of Kurama's chakra so that she could share the mental link and it made her even stronger. You girls are so troublesome, Naruto lamented. Itachi giggled harder. Hey, just like you can identify family and kindred spirits, we can identify girls too. Which one were you thinking, Chi-chan? Kurama asked. It's a secret, Itachi said while giggling. Cave, Akatsuki hideout, river country, Friday morning, Gaara was suspended midair in front of the Ghetto Mazo by a chakra stream. The Ichibi was slowly being sucked out of him and it was just getting started. The 10 members of the Akatsuki were each standing on one of the fingers and 8 of them, including Pain, were hologram projections. Any issues with the acquisition? Pain asked in a dull tone. Deidara shrieked at that, the sand rat tore off my left arm, on. Because you took too long and played around too much. Sasori's gruff voice said. Were you followed? Konan asked. We took care of the pursuer. Sasori answered. The earliest they could get help would be this evening and they would be going straight to Suna. Kisame groaned, well, this was scheduled for 2 days, but does this feel slower than expected to anyone? Pain narrowed his eyes, yes, it does. The seal is slowing the draining down. Regardless, we should be done within 3 days. Alright guys, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. As always, the rest of the story is already out over on Patreon, link to that will be in the description. Anyways, until next time, peace.